a Saturday that will crush some Derby dreams, but elevate others to true contender status. Here in New York, the Grade 3 Gotham is a big test for two talented and undefeated New York breds. Sand Devil's already proven he's just too good for his state bred competition. Now he puts his perfect record on the line in his first test against Open Company. Sacrosanct is also unbeaten, but this New York bred is facing the Gotham field off a layoff for his 3-year-old debut. A tall order to prove he's Derby worthy. And Oaks contenders duel in a wide open edition of the Busher, where Sharp Smile looks to build on a big maiden win to keep her on a path to Louisville. It's all next as we set course for the first Saturday in May on a key weekend across the country for horses to grab their spot in the Kentucky Derby starting gate. Good to have you with us. Sun shining here in South Ozone Park, New York. On a big Saturday afternoon, 4 stakes on this Saturday card here at Aqueduct. Good to be with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. I'm Greg Wolf, and a very big weekend on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby. 3 major prep races across the country, including here in New York with the Grade 3 Gotham, the ABR race of the week, where these 2 undefeated New York breds are out to prove they are up to the task in their first tries against Open Company for Sacrosanct and Sand Devil. Just one of 4 stakes on this Saturday card. That, of course, the Gotham. We'll start out with the Tom Fool. We're just about 7 minutes to post for the 6-furlong sprint for 4-year-olds and up at a very good field. Stymie, Busher as well. Busher, of course, on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. As I welcome in New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, and we're excited to see if these New York breds are up to the task in the Gotham.
No, I agree, and obviously, you know, we are in New York, and we're pro-New York breds. The top 3 choices, not just the 2 you mentioned, but also the 3rd choice in the morning line, calling card, all New York breds, and all extremely talented horses. You find out more about them. It's a 1-turn mile. Obviously, a lot of things have to change going forward. Linda Rice has already said, the trainer of the favorite in here, that she and owner Chester Broman, they want to get to the Derby, so they're kind of committed to going if they can get in, and Sand Devil is an extremely talented horse. Now, in today's race, he's got a serious speed inside of him with Sacrosanct, and while he's helped with drawing outside of that one, he's got to deal with that horse's speed, put him away, and hold off some potential runners in this race. This is a race where there's nobody outside of Sand Devil that's run huge races, big figures, but there's an enormous amount of potential in lightly raced horses that can take a step forward coming from good barns.
So obviously, and look, anyone could step up as well and improve, lightly raced 3-year-olds, but going in, Sand Devil, in your mind, he is much the horse to beat?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, he has run the races that are faster than these horses. That's why he's 9-5. But the going is going to get tougher, because not only is he meeting perhaps the 2nd best male New York bred, but he's also meeting some interesting invaders in this race. Lightly raced horses, good barns, interesting horses, but he's also got to put away Sacrosanct,
who is quick and probably expect to be even more fresh firing out of the gate coming off the bench. Difficult task, though, isn't it, going a mile in Open Company in a graded stake Derby prep off the bench?
Well, I mean, if you want to find out if you belong in these kind of races, you're going to have to run in races that are tough. And there's nothing wrong with running and losing. There's something wrong with not running and not giving yourself a chance to win. And they're going to find out if he can deal with a horse like the favorite, Sand Devil, deal with him, and then deal with the other horses. It opens up a whole new world for him if he can be successful. And if he's not, there are plenty of other races he can still go in. Sometimes you got to put up or shut up.
2 perfect records on the line for 2 New York breds tackling Open Company and trying to collect some more Derby points in today's Grade 3 Gotham or ABR race of the week. We start our stakes action, though, with a Grade 3 Tom Fool 6-furlong sprint, $175,000 purse, 4-year-olds and up. And we start off with Runnin' Son of a Gun, who just missed in the toboggan last start.
It's absolutely outrageous that he's currently the 4th choice in this race. He is the horse to beat. He's consistent. He runs well every time. I think it's preposterous that he's a bigger price, say, than Full Moon Madness.
Meanwhile, Top Gunner favorite just went by. He comes off a big win.
I like him. If he runs his last, he'll win. They should send him the front.
Michelle Nevin trains Full Moon Madness.
While I'm a fan of his problem of getting left every race is a continuing issue.
Bill Mott trains Bold Journey.
He needs some pace to run out. He's second off a layoff. He is dangerous in his best race, but will there be enough speed?
Carlos Martinbarn with Ridgewood Runner 8-1.
Yeah, he's drifting up now. He's facing the toughest field he's ever faced.
And Surveillance has been beat by quite a few of these.
No, and he's run some decent figures in doing it, but he has not shown the ability to beat horses of this level.
A middle pick 4 starts here. It's a good one. Grade 3 Tom Fool. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, it is a fun and interesting race, and we'll check in with what I observed as the 3 best turned out horses. One of them happens to be the horse that is vying for favoritism in number 4 in here. That is coming back second off of that extended layoff for trainer Bill Mott in number 4, Bold Journey, a New York bred, as we were talking a lot about them being well represented in today's feature, the Gotham. But Bold Journey, as he is second off the bench here, I thought ran okay. You know, he broke on top from that outside post last time out at Gulfstream Park. He was allowed then to take his usual position, which is more towards the rear of the field in these sprint races. And then he continued on through a wide rally through the stretch after catching some fairly tepid fractions for Gulfstream. They're usually a little bit quicker there. So looking at him here, look, he's about the same as what I've always seen from him. He's a big, robust horse that is just really well turned out. And it's evident that he has spent the majority of his time in South Florida because in his coat, he looks best. I really respect this horse. We'll see what kind of trip he's able to pull today. I don't know how far you can really rally from off of it with this racetrack, as I agree with Andy, much too big of a price on number 1, Runnin' Son of a Gun, a horse that I've always had an affinity for. He always feels like that overachiever, and a great job by John Toscano and his team for a horse that came in off of a 13-month layoff to get him back to peak form, even winning via DQ that grade 3 Bold Ruler back in October. I just think he looks sensational. One of the better times I've seen him. I thought the same thing going back to that toboggan. I'm a little bit concerned that he hasn't won a race outright since that very lengthy layoff, and it just looked like he wanted to hang a little bit on eventual winner Maximus Meridius, who was able to take them gate to wire that day. I'm going to pick him here. I like that inside post position, and I like the form he's coming into. We'll just see if he can get back into a winning habit. As on the outside is number 6 Surveillance, and I got to give credit to Linda Rice. She's really done a tremendous job with this horse, whom I know is incredibly hard to train. He refuses to train, as we see him a little reluctant to go towards the starting stalls. This is something he typically does. But going back to this fall, he was a lot more reluctant to get even close to it. And because it seems like she's kind of figured him out a bit more and is able to get him to train, he looks fitter than what I've seen from him in the past, and furthermore is moving beautifully. So like I said, he's a little bit of a tricky horse. How good is he actually, as Andy mentioned? But I really feel like Linda has him going the right way, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. He's the Allen Iverson of thoroughbred racing. Just does not want to practice.
I can't knock him for that. I'm in the Allen Iverson camp in general. Maggie's point is very well taken on Runnin' Son of a Gun. He has not finished first in a race since 2022, and that is a bit of a concern because he's gotten there and he's hung a little bit in the money. Now, you can say, well, he hung a little on the money against Maximus Meridius last time, and that's fair, but he's still hanging on the money, and that's a concern with him.
And he hung a little bit going 7 furlongs. He's only got to go 6 furlongs today. Is that going to help him?
I think he's a better horse at 6 furlongs, and I think his record suggests that if you look at it. 4 of his 5 wins have come at 6 furlongs. He's a really good horse. He's a very consistent horse. You know, I like Full Moon Matt as a horse. I'm not saying I couldn't see him winning this race, but he has now broken slowly in his last 2 races, and horses that do that often continue to do that. And this is not the kind of field you want to get left in. Now, I think he may benefit from the cut back to 6 even more than the 1 does, but having said that, getting left is a real problem. As far as the 2 Top Gunner who I picked, I can understand saying I don't want him at 5-2 because before his last race he couldn't win this race and he'd be 6-1. But maybe setting him in the lead last time changed things, and I have to imagine they're going to try to employ those tactics today. And if he gets clear on the front end, I think there's a very good chance he doesn't forget to stop. And while Bold Journey has good races, I'm afraid that he may be affected by a relative lack of a strong pace.
That's the 4. He's favored. I think we're both a little surprised to see him top choice against the likes of the 1 and 2.
Shocked that he's favored. Maybe it turns out it's a good sign. fine, and I think he didn't run badly considering the slow pace and coming off the long layoff last time. I just worry that the race dynamics may not be in his favor here.
Grade 3, Tom Fool, first of 4 stakes on this Saturday card. From Aqueduct, let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Surveillance. Front of the gate open. Goes in. Closing up the front of the gate. All set. The grade 3, Tom Fool. And they're off. Speed towards the inside from Top Gunner has plenty of company from Full Mood Madness, and no easy leads as these two are hard set. Neither one wants to give up the lead, and now Top Gunner puts ahead in front. Full Moon Madness is back to second. Surveillance is the gray in third. Runnin' Son of a Gun was off a step slow, but is moving forward now, is taken fourth, is towards the inside here of Bold Journey. The one at the back, Ridgewood Runner, is the trailer. 22-3 for the opening quarter mile. Top Gunner is in command. Full Mood Madness is engaged and right there is back to within ahead of the leader. Surveillance is watching the action here from third. Trying to keep up is Runnin' Son of a Gun. Bold Journey starts to launch from the back of the field, and Ridgewood Runner is far back. They're approaching a quarter mile left to go. Kendrick Carmouche just took a look back here on Full Mood Madness. Top Gunner keeps battling on towards the inside. Can Surveillance pass them both, and Surveillance starts to run down the center of the racetrack. Bold Journey's following that move too. Full Mood Madness is in front, a final furlong to get. Can Surveillance push on by? But Full Mood Madness is very game. Full Mood Madness inside the final 16th. Full Moon Madness wins the Tom Fool. Full Mood Madness over Surveillance. Top Gunner, then a photo. Running Son of a Gun with Bold Journey in 1 minute 11 seconds flat.
Full Moon Madness was able to get out of the gate good today, and it made all the difference here. Kendrick Carmouche for Michelle Nevin and JMS Stable.
And give a lot of credit to both Michelle Nevin and Kendrick Carmouche. Kendrick knows the horse has gotten left. He got this horse to break on a dime. And once the race started and this horse broke as well as he did, you knew it was going to be a different story. You don't know that he's going to win, but you knew he was no longer compromised at the break. He put that pressure on Top Gunner, who just couldn't withstand the pressure. Surveillance got the good trip. He wasn't good enough. The best horse won this race, and a nice job by both Michelle and Kendrick getting him to break today.
3 wins, last 5 starts now. Full Moon Madness, 3-6-2 finish. Goes off at 3-1. And Surveillance, yeah, getting second. Running Son of a Gun, a little disappointing, as
he
was...
never ran at all.
No.
And the 4, frankly, they were moving enough up front, but, nobody picked up ground, but still, they couldn't even pick up the 2 for third. That's a bad sign. He was done top of the stretch.
Meanwhile, Full Moon Madness finding more down the stretch. And yeah, the break so key for him. And there is winning trainer, Michelle Nevin. Outstanding job. With this 5-year-old now who wins for the 4th time, all 4 wins coming here on this track at Aqueduct to beat a good field.
No, this is, and then getting him to break. Now, one doesn't sort of preclude the other, but if they can continue to get this horse to break, he has a chance to be a real player maybe in this division. He's a very nice horse, and he's been compromised in both his last 2 starts and still ran very well. This is typical Michelle Nevin, who I am a huge fan of. She has really gotten this 5-year-old gelding to improve.
It's Full Moon Madness in the grade 3, Tom Fool. Still to come, what could be a very big Saturday for Linda Rice. Yo Daddy in the Stymie, trying to win a 3rd in a row. Fortuna Mia, long shot in the busher. And can't she get her first ever Kentucky Derby starter? Sand Devil will try and punch that ticket in the Gotham to come.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day of the Races, brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play it all, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Full Moon Madness does break today and keeps on rolling for the victory. For Michelle Nevin, Kendrick Carmouche to get this grade 3 win in the Tom Fool. Let's go to Maggie.
Here with winning trainer Michelle Nevin. And Michelle, I gotta ask, what was the key to get him to break today after disappointing starts in his last several? It really seemed like the key to success.
Yeah, I basically told Kendrick, we're going to be through if you don't get him out of the gates.
Divorce. Sign the papers, Kendrick.
No, he's a quirky horse. And, Kendrick got him to break good today. And that's the key.
When you say quirky, what do you mean? Like, is he tough in the mornings? Is he tough in the afternoons?
He just does what he wants to do,
You're well familiar, though, with the pedigree, as he's yet another horse out of By the Moon, your grade 1 winner that is now a grade 6 winner himself.
Yes, yeah, it's great.
How rewarding is that?
It's so exciting. He's such a cool horse. Everybody loves him. They loved his mommy. It's just so nice to keep having the family,
Well done to you and Kendrick. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Full Moon Madness gets that win finally with such a sharp start, Greg.
Made all the difference and equates to the 4th victory of this 5-year-old's career.
People may not believe me, that was actually a chatty version of Michelle. A woman of few words, but she's one hell of a trainer. And I'm just glad they got the horse to break. I did not like him. I'm not betting horses can't get out of the gate, but I'm thrilled for them they did, because he's obviously a very good horse. And if they can get him out of the gate, he could do some damage going forward.
Take a look at what's still to come. We're just getting started. 3 more stakes to come, including preps on the road to the Oaks for 3-year-old fillies and this year's Kentucky Derby in our ABR Race of the Week. Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farms. Stymie in race 6 as well. Fast going here in South Ozone Park, New York at Oaklawn. We'll bring you races 3 through 9, including Arkansas bred runners in the Down the Dusty Road. They are fast going as well. We'll check in with the MIG here in just a minute, Richie Migliori, for more from Hot Springs. As we move along, play all the action right there. Get signed up if you've not already with that offer, that $200 deposit match new customer bonus. Punch in match 200 at sign up, and the offer is yours right there at NairaBets.com. All right, so out to Oaklawn, race 3. $8,000 condition claiming race. 4-year-olds and up who have not won 3 or have not won a race since October 1st of last year, going 6 furlongs.
And the heavy favorite right now is number 1, Atomic Tone, who's a massive drop down for David Jacobson. David claimed this horse for $20,000, ran him back going a mile, much like the distance he claimed him out of. Horse ran horrendously at 5-1, and now he's dropping from the $30,000 level to $8,000. And this is one of the reasons I say over and over again, I just can't read David Jacobson. To me, there's an enormous amount of randomness. And obviously a horse facing that much better horses running at this level, the bottom level, is supposed to be tough to beat. I could never bet him at 2-1, but I'm a little scared to bet against him as well.
There he is, 10-time winner as we go to MIG right now. Obviously finished early in that race last time out, MIG, but this is a big drop in class.
Yeah, big drop in class, guys. Turning back in distance, draws the outside, even though he's post 1, part of an entry, and 1A Solardi did not draw into the body of the race. He looks great. One thing you're trying to identify when you're looking at a horse taking that massive drop in class is how do they look warming up? Is there, an underlying reason why the horse is making that drop? He warmed up great, and I think David's just being aggressive. It is a $32,000 purse, so if you get the lion's share of the purse and the horse gets claimed for $8,000, at least you're a good ways towards being out on the horse, and I can't fault him. I agree with Andy. Hard to bet a horse like this at a very short price, but he did make a nice impression in the warm-up, as did the 2 Super Brady, who draws post 1. Inside Speed with Harry Hernandez getting back to the $8,000 level. And one thing we did see earlier in the card, a couple horses rallied really well up the inside. Looks like the track is playing very, very fair today on this beautiful, brilliant, sunny day. The 3 risk profile, a big price. Once again, look down. Who's the trainer? Steve Asmussen. Horses always make a nice impression. Again, it doesn't make them any faster than they can be, but it means that they've horsemen have done their job. A horse that I would be remiss not to talk about at a huge price that really checked the boxes and had a great energy level is the 8 Warp Ride. Alberto Pusek won the last race at a big price, and we see sometimes big prices in these lower level races. There's less consistency, and this is a horse that warmed up with boundless kind of energy, guys. I'd be surprised if he doesn't outrun his 22-to-1 odds.
Yeah, big number. He put together back-to-back wins at Woodbine late last year. Another one who was finished very early in his most recent start, but gets easier today.
Yeah, I'm not interested in him, but he is dropping down. His first race on dirt racing wasn't that bad. I like the 12 a little bit as my price, family tradition, cutting back.
Cody Rosen for Walter De La Cruz. Matt Ditterman with the call. Here's race 3 from Oaklawn Park.
Gold Baron going into the gate. Family tradition, post position number 12 in the green jacket. 2 back, T. Burns. Black silks, yellow cap. Atomic Tone to the outside. We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful start for all the runners. Warp Ride is showing speed today in the middle of the field, has a share of the lead with T. Burns. T. Burns snatches the lead now. Warp Ride takes back. Here comes Risk Profile. Super Brady from the inside wants to be prominent as well. A scramble, a three-way scramble on the lead. T. Burns in the 3 path there with Risk Profile between horses and Super Brady inside. They've opened up 3 on Warp Ride, who runs a joint 4th. Elusive D'Oro down on the inside, easing off of him, going into the far turn run. Then Colonel Barton passing a couple runners here. He's 5 lengths off the lead. Atomic Tone next. Family Tradition trying to get out a little bit. He's been passed by Elusive D'Oro, who's making a move on the rail, and Aloe Henry is following him. Then comes Gold Baron. 3rd last. Johnny Up losing ground in the 2nd last spot, and Tiebreaker's the trailer as they round the far turn, approach the top of the lane. Risk Profile between horses there with T. Burns. Super Brady cuts the corner off the turn. Atomic Tone's getting into it. Elusive D'Oro's coming on strongly. And about the 5 path, there's a lineup for the win here as they come down the lane. Elusive D'Oro, Atomic Toner taking over. They're going at it with a 16th to go, and Aloe Henry's trying to join the fun. He's got a shot. 16th to go. Elusive D'Oro headed front. Aloe Henry surging on the outside. Aloe Henry and Elusive D'Oro in a photo finish. It was too tight to call. 3rd home, Atomic Toad, and then Gold Baron, who was 4th.
Yeah, I'm not sure who got this. Aloe Henry, the 4, Ramon Vasquez, Elusive D'Oro, Christian Torres, both right there at the wire.
Yeah, turn back with the number 4, Aloe Henry, who I believe got up, but I'm not sure. Little tough to call those photos at Oaklawn. Elusive D'Oro turned away the favorite. It looked like he had him collared, and he just couldn't finish the deal. Aloe Henry coming in off a race, turning back in distance. Elusive D'Oro, a rare horse that may have won a race coming from Delta Downs. I don't know, Greg. I think he got up on the outside. I thought he did.
He's 9-1, by the way. Yeah. 5-1, Elusive D'Oro.
No excuse for the 1.
Tough to tell, but does certainly all the momentum with the 4 wasn't in
like
time.
He got up. It seemed like he got up in time, but once again, a little tricky sometimes at Oaklawn Park. They usually have the results up. We're looking at the other screen. They have not posted the numbers yet.
6-year-old, if it is this 4-horse Aloe Henry, trying to outduel the 8-year-old to his inside. And we will have to await this photo being developed.
Yes.
One more look at it.
This will be the definitive one for calling the photo.
I like this angle, though.
It's a little tough for calling photos, but it's a pretty cool angle.
No, it is a very cool angle. So there's Aloe Henry, 3 wide on the outside.
Is Rishi controlling the drone?
He might be. Very cool shot. Another look at it.
Do you think our director, Mitch Levitas, realizes that calling me an idiot is not going to work out well for him going forward? Just wondering if he's thinking that. They have not posted the photo yet.
Well, we're waiting in suspense. We'll see what happens again. If it's the 5, it's 5-1. If it's the 4, it's 9-1. We both seem to think it's the 4, but it's very close. And it is.
4,
we got it right for once.
4,
The 4,
5, 1,
Allo
11.
Henry.
Yep, 4, 5, 1, 11.
So 9-1 upset. Here in this third from Oaklawn. We're going to take a timeout. Still ahead. From growing up, watching quarter horses in Texas, to being an exercise rider for D. Wayne Lucas, later on an assistant to Todd Pletcher. Now Horacio De Paz is doing it very well out on his own.
It's Mandaloon, and Mandaloon wins.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com. Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes on June 7th at Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss your chance to witness the historical third leg of the Triple Crown. Get your tickets today by visiting belmontstakes.com/tickets.
Welcome back to the program. It's America's Day at the Races here on FS2, as it is Gotham Day here at the Big A, and horses in the paddock for today's 5th race, a state-bred allowance race in which we'll see the comeback of number 3 in here, Santa Gata, who's trained by Horacio De Paz. Now, a couple weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down one morning with Horacio at his barn and learned quite a bit. A guy that was on course to become a vet stepped away from that schooling in search of more action, and you can't blame him. He got his start in racing, riding match races in Texas, but with a career that has taken him all over the country, he has now found a home and, more importantly, success here in New York. Horacio, you grew up in Snyder, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
What is Snyder, Texas like?
Small.
Yeah.
Flat, dry, not a lot of grass, but a lot of country. And it's mostly quarter horses.
Is that where you got the racing bug as well?
I did. I've always been drawn to horses since I was young, just liked horses in general. Drawn to the smell of a horse, too. You know, just little things like that when I got to be around them.
You work for really great horsemen. What were the things that you took from your experiences with them that you apply now?
A lot of it is honestly like organization.
Yeah.
Communication, how to treat your staff, developing and knowing when can you press on with the horse and when you should back off of a horse.
That's essential. In 2015, Nacho went out on his own,
Yes.
and you assumed his role as the private trainer for Sagamore Farm in Maryland. Did you feel as though you were ready for that?
I'd always given me a goal that, but when I turned 30, that I kind of wanted to step into that role. There's only so much that you can learn being an assistant. And with the schooling that I had, obviously working for Todd, Ignacio, Lucas, Wayne, he likes to give you those one-liners, and he's always going to be the teacher and, you know, school you. And one time we came into work, and I don't know why, I was maybe wearing black jeans or something, and he's like, "What are you doing? You look like you're going to church." I'm like, "I am at church. You preach to me every day."
You got him.
That was a funny,
you got him to the table
he said
with
he
that one.
got that grin on him and stuff. So
Recruiting Ready is way too good, and he's going to dominate in The Bachelor.
When you were out on your own, the horses running in your name, you had some pretty nice horses for Sagamore Farm, Recruiting Ready. But one I want to ask you about specifically is Ginger and Rye.
Yeah.
She gave you your first win, but then also gave you your first Saratoga Stakes winner as well.
yeah, she's very special. She always showed to be a talented horse. The first year we stabled there, we were in Shug's barn, and Clement was across the way too. And here I am with these little Maryland, and Ginger and Rye was a small horse too.
Now, was coming to New York always a goal for you, or did it just kind of happen organically?
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
When I went public, I actually ran into Barry Schwartz, and he was the big push to come to New York. And then we came, and then we ended up winning a stakes with Amundsen.
Yeah.
And then Sharp Star, she was hitting the board. And then COVID hit. And I was like, oh, this was a good decision. So we stuck through it. Barry kept sending horses, and very thankful for him.
You mentioned that it was a goal for you that once you were 30 to have horses in your own name, to be a trainer. What's 40? What's your 40-year goal?
I was hoping I'd just stay 30. It's gone by.
Don't we all?
It's gone by quick. I think at this point, obviously, just trying to grow our business and the clientele. And like I said, when I came here with Barry, we had 4 horses. And this summer, we got up to 45 here at Belmont.
This is not an easy lifestyle. It's 24/7. Why do you get up and do it every morning?
Honestly, you love the process of trying to come up with that nice horse. And they're all projects, and you're all trying to figure out their quirks. I mean, every once in a while, my mom was so, "Okay, you still gonna go to college?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think I'm gonna go to college now." So
That's off the cards, Mom.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if Horacio still questions, why did I leave school? But there's no doubt about it. He is a talented horseman, to say the least. And what we missed in that piece was that Horacio's also a father. He is a guy that does spend a lot of time on the road up and down 95 from New York to Maryland, where his daughter Mila is and going to school. So he's very dedicated to her. But there's also this extreme dedication to his horses, and it definitely shows with what he has put forth with his career so far, Greg.
Good to see him having success. Came up under some very good trainers, and now having great success on his own.
No, I agree. I'm a big fan of Horacio. I think he's extremely talented. I even picked his ridiculous long shot in this race, Santa Gata. But
Who we're looking at?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Horacio, and I think if you're following, he's one of these guys that very quietly is doing better and better, a better job. And he also shows, and we're seeing it with Dave Duggan also, people say that these other smaller trainers can't get an opportunity. It's not true. If you do well and you're a good horseman, like a guy like Horacio De Paz, you do get the opportunity.
Well, with this long shot here, the 3 for De Paz, there's some positives certainly. Long time away. What'd you like?
Well, I like horses that I think are coming out of races that are better than the figures suggest. And I think that 56 buyer might be a little, I'm not saying it's a wrong number for the race. I think it's the wrong number for the horses in the race. The second place finisher, Empire Magic, ran a 48. He ran a 64 before it and a 60 and 67 subsequent to it. So I wonder if it's just a better race than it looks. And if you make this horse 10 points faster in this field, he's not an 11 or 15 to 1 shot. He's about a 5 to 1 shot. So I think if I'm right about that, he's value. If I'm wrong about it, he's another loser that I picked. I pick a lot of losers, but I'm trying to find horses at prices that I think might be better than their prices and their form suggest.
Even Gregorian Solo, who was behind her that day, came back and hit the board at the big price earlier today on the card.
There you go. I mean, it's an interesting race, and I've been kind of waiting for this guy to come back since that race because I think it's a better race than it looks. We'll find out today. And one thing about it, she may not win, but she's not facing any killers in this race. And I just, I didn't want Ariana Rye at a short short price. I just didn't really trust the horses that are taking a lot of money. I don't love the 7 catchphrase. I know she's a speed. I don't think she's very good. And I'm willing to take a shot with a bit of a flyer. And I do that in races where I'm not enamored with the horses that are shorter prices. I think it makes it more possible.
Pick 6 starts here, and we start with Intentious, who will break second to the outside.
I actually think this horse is the interesting horse, coming in off a little bit of a freshening for trader David Duggan, but you can't bet this one if you like her because she's in an entry with a horse that's taking the bulk of the money.
Yeah, Embraceable Gal far outside, post Manny Franco aboard.
But she's not impossible. She just lacks speed.
To the 3, we'll get back to Ariana Rye. Here's Santa Gata, 11:01. Andy's pick.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this horse can, build on that figure that I'm hoping is a little bit in the low side, coming off the layoff.
8-1, 13 red flags for Amira Shishakli.
At times she's run well enough, but I just feel like she's a little cut below the best horses.
Big price with Fabulous Fox, who's a 4-time winner.
She figures to be a little bit forward, but she's not as fast as Catchphrase.
Top of the table, a little interesting for Mark Hennig.
She has had her moments. I just didn't like her last race, and Ariana Rye easily beat her.
Raylo Gutierrez sighting. He'll be aboard. Catchphrase at 4-1, who has speed.
She is the speed, but she didn't beat a competitive field last time, and for the most part, she's burned a lot of money during her career.
Easy Play is the biggest number on the board, and here she is.
I mean, listen, another horse who at times has run well, but her best races are at Finger Lakes, and that worries me.
Linda Rice, First Class Cat, has Eric Cancel.
She's not out of it. She's a bit of a deep closer in here, but she's at square enough price. She has her days.
And Ariana Rye, favorite at 5-2. She has the inside post.
Yeah, Ariana Rye, the number 2, is a funny horse. Last time she just got run off her feet by La Banquera, who's now run 2 fast races in a row. The time before that, she was best. She had forward position. She got shuffled back to near last in there and came around and circled the field and probably ran the best race. And the prior race to that, she was forward and ran well. She's not going to be the speed here, but if the 7 opens up and she gets good position behind her, she could win. She's a horse to beat.
There she is. Again, inside post with Sofia Vives. Meanwhile, with more in the entry, let's go down to Maggie.
I actually like both halves of the entry here, Greg, both of which going out for different trainers. We'll start with Dave Duggan's charge. That's the plain one, Intentious here, who, last time she was coming in from Finger Lakes and she just looked, I know she'd been running consistently throughout that 3-year-old year, but she just looked really heavy. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Dave didn't have much time training her. And it's kind of like with that little bit of a freshening, he's kind of scaled back, started over, and gotten her more into his program because she looks totally different. So much more fit, so much more defined. And on top of that, I love this turn back for a filly that's a bit more compact and, built downhill, those elevated hindquarters. I think at least physically, this type of distance is just far more suitable for her. And I know she's won going 2 turns at Finger Lakes, but 2 of her other wins came sprinting. As we'll move on to the 1A Embraceable Gal, who will be my pick of record. But like I said, I'm going to take the 2-for-1 deal here at 9-2. Embraceable Gal looks phenomenal. Now, she's also enormous, which I have said in the past is why she cannot get out of the gate cleanly. There's just not much room for her to rock back. I'm sure she gets somewhat claustrophobic in there as well, but finally she gets to draw the outside posts. So she gets to be the last one in and spend the least amount of time in there. So I think that's a benefit, for her. And like I said, you could not ask a horse, especially training here in New York, to look any better than what she does here in what is winter, effectively. As we'll move on to number 4, that's 13 Red Flags. She's been in way over her head in her last 4 efforts, 5, 6, maybe even, because I think she deserves to be in this condition here. It looks as though she's doing well overall, and at 7-1, I think she's definitely playable. As the 7 catchphrase, she'll be saying, "Catch me if you can." And a filly that I saw first time out, mare, not used to a 5-year-old only having 3 starts, but I will say that she is so much stronger behind the saddle. That was my main complaint with her, as she was bet down to favoritism on that debut, but she's just a lot stronger. She's put on so much more conditioning. So I think there could be another move forward in her. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. Pick 6 again begins here. Pull at 40,000 and growing. And Ariana Rai remains the favorite from that inside post, who's had a couple of tries the last 2 outings at this condition, has been second in both.
Yeah, I don't think she's a bad price at 5-2. I mean, personally, I'd much rather bet her at 5-2 than the number 7 catchphrase at 5-2. I think she's a more likely winner. I don't have a problem with that. I think she's a very logical horse in here. You know, for her, I think you're kind of hoping the catchphrase kind of opens up a little bit, spreads the field, and maybe she can get herself in a good position and sort of stalk in second or third. That would be ideal for her. We'll see how it goes. For me, I'm against catchphrase, and I think if you are against catchphrase and right, hopefully it sort of brings the field together a little bit, though my horse Santa Gata is not that slow early.
13-1 on Andy's long shot here for the Horacio de Paz barn, who you found out more about in that interview with Maggie. This filly coming off a layoff dating back to July of last year. The 3 Luis Rivera Jr. ride set for the pick 6 begins here. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Gal. Other half of the entry, the far outside. Embraceable Gal. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Really lined up here on the front end, as Fabulous Fox is going to be in the early mix with plenty of company. Top of the tables in that early fray. Easy play out wider. Catchphrase is also with the pace. Is going to be 3 wide at the rail. Ariana Rai. Ariana Rai now emerges with a nose in front. Fabulous Fox is taking from second. Then comes Catchphrase, 3 wide in third. Easy play is going to be 4 wide. Nowhere to go right now for Intentious. Is very wide on the racetrack. Is trying to save some ground, but nowhere to go. 5 wide up the backstretch. Top of the tables in that mix, and also at the rail there is 13 red flags moving forward. Embraceable Gal is at the back end of that leading group, as they are very tightly packed. First Class Cat and one far back, Santa Gata. 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Ariana Rise got the lead, had to work to get there. Intentious has been wide, but here comes Intentious with a 5 wide run, is coming after the leader, Ariana Rai, who's still about a half length in front. Intentious is now chasing and getting closer to the leader. Fabulous Fox is all in. Catchphrase is dropping back. Easy play. Ariana Rai is still there. Ariana Rai gutting it out. Intentious is trying to cut into the margin. First Class Cat starts to make up some ground. Embraceable Gal is rolling to grandstand side. Can Ariana Rai find a final furlong? Here comes First Class Cat down the center of the racetrack, is motoring with Embraceable Gal. Ariana Rai is looking for the line. First Class Cat is trying to nail this leader. It's a photo. Maybe Ariana Rai just holds on over First Class Cat. Embraceable Gal then came Intentious and top of the table in 1 at 21.48 seconds.
Looks like just barely Ariana Rai able to seal the deal here under Sofia Vives.
And while it wasn't a monstrous pace, it was an honest pace. The surprising thing was the unaggressive tactics with Catchphrase, who couldn't even make the lead in here. And Ariana Rai, you got to give Sofia Vives, credit. She stuck to her guns. She was aggressive from the inside. She took them wire to wire, and this horse was absolutely best. First Class Cat and Embraceable Gal got the kind of pace they need to close into. They just weren't quite good enough to get up. My horse, she was basically last the whole way around the track. Santa Gata, she had nothing.
Goes off your slight favorite.
I think it's crazy.
That's 5-2.
I think it's outrageous that this horse is the same price as the 7. I really do.
By about $1,400 or so was the favorite.
Well, they were right.
2-9. And then both halves of the entry, the 1A and 1. Complete the top 4 across the wire. Ariana Rai, the win to start off the pick 6. Chalky beginning. To the first leg of the sequence, John Ortiz. He's got a contender on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks after that win from Quiet Side in the Honeybee. We'll see him with a major player in the next race at Oaklawn when we come back.
Newgate sold for $850,000 as a yearling. His full sister, Denim and Pearls, sold for $2.8 million. His 108 buyer was the fastest of any into mischief in 2024. He posted a 122 Equibase speed figure and ran a -2 1/4 on the Thoroughgraph sheets. In all, he defeated 8 individual Grade 1 winners. New to Three Chimneys.
Good to have you with us on our Fox Sports 2 coverage of America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Ariana Rai kicking off the pick six at 5-2 is the favorite with a win. Sofia Vives, Rob Falcone Jr., and the third career win for this 4-year-old filly.
Yeah, she was very gutsy, holding off all the closers in this race and digging in. And you know what, for this quality of horse, that 23 flat first quarter is solid. It was only about a quarter of a second slower than the first quarter in the stake race, and they're obviously much better horses. Sofia Vives was not afraid to be aggressive in the rail, and you like to see that aggressive riding rewarded. The one took a shot at her. She couldn't finish her off, and her entry mate couldn't quite get there as well. They had their chances, but the winner was best.
So Ariana Rai now 2 wins, a narrow neck defeat. 3 starts back on a pretty good run right now for Rob Falcone Jr. Returned $7.10 to kick off this pick six. 2-9-1-6.
Got to root for fans of the Brooklyn Nets, and Rob's a fan, and I'm a fan as well.
Stakes action continues. Next race, Stymie, 4-year-olds and up, 1-turn mile, $150,000 purse, and it's the 3. Yo Daddy, Linda Rice, looking for 3 in a row. Who's opened up the favorite?
It's interesting, looking at doubles, there are pennies separating the 3, the 5, and the 8. They're all very similar in the doubles, and believe it or not, in the pick 3, slight favoritism goes to Coastal Mission, who I know Jonathan thinks is going to bounce back in today's race. I am dubious. I did not like his last race. I like the 7 Worcester, who's going to be a much better price than 3-1 by post time.
It's Worcester.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Worcester sauce. It's not named after the city.
Back to Hot Springs, 4th race, 6 furlongs. $12,000 maiden claiming race. Favoritism outside here to Cold as Ice. The 12. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And we'll start with the 7, Richo, who would be my top selection. Lightly raced horse from the Mike Maker barn. Thought she took a little bit of a step forward, showing high speed in her second start, and just made a real nice physical impression. Out of everybody, she looked the best physically to me. And Ramon Vasquez is riding well. Now, we talked about it a lot earlier in the meet, when weather interrupts training, and Mike Maker's barn got off to a little bit of a slow start here, but things have been heating up, and I think Richo might be set for her best. She is a 3-year-old filly. She gets in with 119 pounds. The horse just outside of her, another 3-year-old filly, chapter and verse, turning back in distance. Thought she made a little bit of sense, and she'll have that foundation from the mile race, turning back to the 6 furlongs. Those are the 2 that I'm really going to lean on. Excuse me, the 12, Cold as Ice. Listen, she's just run faster than everybody else up to this point. She's getting back to the 12-5 level where she had 2 good second-place finishes. I just preferred the way the other 2, the 7, Richo, and the 8, Chapter and Verse, looked from a physical perspective. So I'm going to go with the 2nd and 3rd choices as opposed to your favorite, who I just would have liked to have seen kind of pick up the bridle just a bit more in the post-parade.
All right, Mig, thank you.
Not a foreigner fan, Richie.
No.
He lives on. They're all from.
They were great live, by the way.
They were from. Either wasn't the guitar player from Mount Kisco or something.
Saw them
which
with
is
Journey
not far.
and
Really?
Night Ranger.
Wow.
Night Ranger, by the way, recorded one of their videos at my high school.
I inadvertently insulted the drummer at Journey once.
Why? What happened?
It's kind of a long story, but it involves being in the Tin and Lint, the bar in Saratoga,
oh boy,
back in the '80s, and kicking the old jukebox when Journey came on, and lo and behold, the drummer from Journey was at the bar because they'd played Smack that night.
No, you did not disrespect.
They actually, I ran to Brian Adams the next day,
Huge
who was
Journey
with him,
fan.
and he said they thought it was very funny. I was forgiven.
Okay.
I think Journey's, really gotten more famous with the Sopranos, right? How much more famous did that Sopranos episode?
They were terrific.
No, I know that.
Let's not get into this on air.
They have a new singer, right? I don't have any argument with Richie's horses. I think they're fairly logical here. Probably the horse who's a little bit of a price, the 11. Why is the 11 that much less likely to win than the 7, 8, and 12? So if I was looking for a little bit of a price, I might use that one, but I don't have any arguments.
And by the way,
with
the John Ortiz runner we talked about, and we'll talk more about Quiet Side later, the Honeybee winner. And as we get into the Oaks, he's got Rosie Cotton, the 9. This one, 3rd place finish. Gets a little bit softer last start, but we'll see.
Quiet Side got the antithesis of the ride that she had gotten the time before last time. Thought Jose Ortiz gave her a great ride in the Honeybee.
86 buyer in that win. Let's go to Matt Dinnerin, 4th from Oaklawn.
Spearhead, post position 6. Into the outside, Cold as Ice. to round out the field. We're ready to go. And we're off. Free Echo broke sharply. My Spittin' Image has natural speed as well. Cold as Ice from the far outside getting into it. Those three contest the early lead. Cold as Ice, Re-Echo kicking on together. Re-Echo with a half-length lead on Cold as Ice, who's pressing from the outside. My Spittin' Image backs off, runs in the third position. Chapter and Verse right behind her. A gap of 3 to Indian Spirit. Then Line Runner Rosie Cotton next in the field. 3 lengths clear of Lily May. I'd Be Honored dropping to the rear of the field. Dare to Catch Love passes her, but is well behind as they go into the far turn run. Re-Echo, Ramon Vasquez string out the field here. A length and a half in front. My Spittin' Image attempts to get closer on the rail. Cold as Ice continues to run in the second spot as My Spittin' Image was third momentarily and is now starting to lose position. Chapter and Verse taking that third position away, but has 3 lengths to gain at the top of the lane. Cold as Ice just easily past Re-Echo, and Cold as Ice kicks off the turn, increasing the lead now. She went to the front at the quarter pole, and now at the 3/16 pole, she's 5 lengths ahead. She's all alone. Cold as Ice on the front end. Chapter and Verse second. Dare to Catch Love coming out of the crowd to be a joint second, battling for that minor award. But Cold as Ice, she sees her first career win at the finish, and she will get there as a maiden no longer. Drifts out late to the roar of the crowd, but wins it easily. Dare to Catch Love was second. Chapter and Verse third. And I'd Be Honored re-rallied after dropping back on the backstretch all the way into the 4th spot to round out that superfecta.
8-5 favorite in it, Cold as Ice. Kelly Bainham, Ricardo Santana Jr. the win.
I'm nominating Matt Dinnerman for the greatest post-race analysis by an announcer in the history of the game in this Archie-bred maiden 12-5 claimer. As Cold as Ice, the foreigner horse, much the best. Second off the claim for Kelly Bainham, who I believe Paulie told us a lot about her last time he was on. Maybe you weren't here. You abandoned me.
Apologize for that.
Somebody trained at Turf, I think at Turf Paradise, where he used to go as a kid.
Okay.
I believe that's what he was talking about.
12-2-8-1. And that 4th from Oaklawn. Prices when we come back. This man right here, he's had a big week already, and he's got a chance to equal a record with his 4th Stymie victory. Mr. Buff, Sunny Ridge, Turco Bravo. Can Manny add another one in the Stymie coming up?
Clear off at the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
As the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The 2 Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind Frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
Phasig Tipton Digital presents Soul of an Angel. Graced with pure speed, she secured champion female sprinter honors, winning the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, earning the 2nd highest winning Ragozin in the last 10 years of the race.
Soul of an Angel!
She also won the Grade 2 Ruffian and the Grade 3 Princess Rooney. Possessing divine looks, this racing broodmare prospect has earned over $1.2 million and counting. The Soul of an Angel flash sale, February 26th through March 4th on Phasig Tipton Digital.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with over 200 wins, 16% wins per starts, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage on a big day on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby, including the Gotham to come later today here in New York. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, and we are honored with the presence Jonathan Kinchin, good to see you.
It's a big moment.
Honestly, this might not end well. It's hot up here, and I wanted to turn the AC on, and Andy threatened to fight me about it, so
It's
we'll
hot.
see how this goes.
We're wearing suits. He's got a onesie on, and he's hot.
It is warm.
It is a little warm in here, but we have to defer to Andy as usual. Andy gets what he wants.
Climate control police.
Look, no more stakes races coming up. We're going to get into the Stymie here in a moment. We're going to play a little game here, JK. I don't know if you've been on for this yet. Name that Derby prep winner.
Oh, boy.
Going to give away some clues. These guys do not know who it is.
John's having a big day. He learned who Alan Turing was today. He learned where Worcester was. It's a big day for him so far.
First clue. Career record. Any answers?
This is so easy. I mean, I get it.
JK, a guess?
No, I got no clue.
Career earnings, $1.9 million.
Forgo.
Won the Gotham in the 3-year-old debut after being 5th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That's a big clue.
Wow. Oh, I know it is.
Didn't win again.
I know it is.
Until the Jim Dandy
Stay
Travers.
thirsty.
Well done, Andy Serling.
Beat Rajiv and Grubidal by a nose in the Cigar Mile, and you can actually see that picture down in the lobby here at the Big A.
And this is how he ended his career, with a Grade 1 win.
Now,
in the Cigar Mile.
He won the Gotham when it was 2 turns on the inner. You know, Stay Thirsty is one of these horses that's like, he doesn't really get the respect he probably deserves because he was running in Uncle Mo's shadow. He was a Rapoli horse the same year that Uncle Mo was a 3-year-old, and he obviously wasn't as good as Uncle Mo. And I don't think it was one of the greatest Travers at all time, but this horse won the Travers. He won the Cigar Mile. I mean, this is a pretty good horse.
Yeah, saved Rapoli probably from getting out of the game that day because Uncle Mo lost that photo to Caleb's posse.
That was some beat.
Who'd he beat in the Travers for extra credit?
Oh.
Andy's going to get this one.
No, I know that was the year that my picks in consecutive races in the King's Bishop and the Travers ran last. Cool Brew, Red Hot, and Raison d'Etat, they ran last.
Rattlesnake Bridge.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
Kieran.
And J.W. Blue.
Yeah, Kieran McLaughlin, Rattlesnake Bridge. Yeah. It's not a bad horse. Stay
I
Thirsty was a
like
cool
that
horse.
new segment that we've had at a
Yeah,
Rickle.
I like that a lot.
Former Gotham winner. We have the Gotham still to come with 2 undefeated New York breds testing open company for the first time at Sacrosanct and Sand Devil. We're getting to the Stymie next. 1 turn mile. Current favorite. That is Yo Daddy, Linda Rice, Kendrick Carmouche trying to make it 3 straight wins.
And I'm going to be interested in the prices because I was saying before, Jonathan, the 3, the 5, and 8 are almost all the same prices in multi-race bets, and the 8's a slight favorite in pick 3s. Worcester is going to go up from his 7-2.
Well, this is one thing we were definitely right about on the handicapping show we did earlier, talking horses, about Yo Daddy being bet the way that he is.
Yeah, listen, he's in great form.
Oh, this one here, trying to win like Yo Daddy 3 in a row, but he'll be trying to do it off a layoff. We haven't seen him since late December. With more, let's go to Maggie.
I was about to say, Greg, that maybe Yo Daddy was the horse that was most, likable at this distance. But then you look at Bank Frenzy's record at this 1 turn mile and you say, well, he fits pretty well too, as he is 4 for 7 over this 1 mile, 1 turn trip. And coming in here, look, it's always hindsight is 20/20. For his last 2 wins, he's looked incredibly fit, so well defined, like every muscle has been highlighted. And now with the layoff coming in, he's put on a little bit more weight and conditioning. I don't mind seeing that, but does that mean he's not quite as fit as what he was when he was running frequently throughout the late summer into the fall? I'm not sure. That's what I mean. I'm not exactly sure if this is a good thing or it's going to affect him negatively, but otherwise he looks incredibly healthy coming in here. Now you'll notice that he is wearing that extension blinker completely covering his right outside eye, and he does wear a short cheater blinker on the inside. He has worn this in the past. It's something that his trainer Rudy Rodriguez, a piece of equipment that he is incredibly fond of. Personally, me, not so much, but it has worked with this horse. As we'll move on to number 7 in here, Worcester, who's coming in here for Brittany Russell. He's riding a win streak too, looking for his 3rd in a row, but he has to take his show on the road. And obviously a horse that they had high hopes for, beginning with Bob Baffert out in California, but it's kind of typical of this ownership group. Well, when things go awry with Bob, they send him to Brittany, and she's managed to patch several of them back up, and you can see that this horse was cut out to be awfully nice. He is really good looking. I mean, he's well balanced, he's athletic, there's a lot of him. He is getting a little warm here, but the temperatures are warm, so I'm definitely not going to hold that against him. He seems calm and confident in his demeanor, but wow, Greg, this is the horse that really took my eye here in the paddock.
For Brittany Russell, Sheldon Russell will ride 7-2. Worcester. They go a little bit longer this afternoon. There's Kendrick Carmouche.
And I think Batman is there too.
He's riding Yo Daddy for Linda Rice, who's got major contenders in all the remaining stakes ahead. 70th running of the Stymie is next. Stay with us.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man, sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage on this Saturday afternoon. Second of 4 stakes races on the card with an Oaks and Derby prep still to come. This one, older veteran horses in the Stymie. We start with Concealed Carry.
Well, longest shot on the board, looks to be the early speed, but may not be good enough to hold on.
Millionaire next door law professor Rob Atras, Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, has not been himself as of late, but he does cut back here. Maybe that could help.
In sharp form right now, Yo Daddy, Linda Rice, Kendrick Carmouche.
No, he's been in great form. He runs on any track, any surface. I think he is the horse to beat.
Winning on weekends, coming off a career best effort, he's a huge price.
Feels like nothing more than just a pace presence in this group.
Bank Frenzy, Rudy Rodriguez, he's reeled off back-to-back wins.
Well, he's going to have to hope there is some pace in this race because he doesn't have any early speed, but he does have a lot of talent.
Curbstone, shocking upset, beating the talented Phileas Fogg last time out.
Ran extremely well last time, but it feels like last time was the time.
Worcester, Brittany Russell at 4-1.
I keep looking at this horse and thinking of post time last year. Came here and won our Carter and was a terrific performer. This is a horse that had a lot of potential for Bob Baffert early in his career, and he's looking now to get back into good form.
And this 6-year-old is talented right here. Another millionaire Coastal Mission.
I tried to make an excuse for his last race, thinking that maybe he went a little too fast early in a shorter distance race, hoping getting back to the mile helps him quite a bit. I feel fine at 3-1. If he starts drifting down, it's not going to make me feel great.
4 minutes of post in the Stymie with more on the horse inside of this one. Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, here with trainer Brittany Russell, sending out Worcester in here. Brittany, talk a little bit about taking over the training with this guy off of that extended layoff. It looks as though you have him heading into this Stymie in really good form.
Yeah, you know, look, since he showed up, he's been a pleasure. Really good training horse. You know, he seems happy, you know, and I think that's the main thing with this horse, just kind of keep him happy, and hopefully he runs for us.
It looks as though the connections have always had high hopes for him. Obviously, he's incredibly good looking. Is it, you know, just a patience game of maybe now he's going to be able to reach that potential?
Yeah, I think that's it. And look, he has an interesting personality. He's kind of a, you know, he has some quirks to him, but you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you keep him happy. So I think maybe just a change of scenery kind of just perked him up, and you know, I think he's sitting in a good spot for today.
What's it like? I've asked you this before, but giving a leg up to Sheldon, your husband, but he seems as though he has a lot of confidence in this horse too.
Yeah, we both do, and I just like that Sheldon knows him, and you know, it makes me feel really comfortable that, you know, I don't have to break it all down. He knows the horse, he looks at the form, and we have a plan.
Teamwork makes a dream work. Best of luck, Brittany, and thank you for your time.
Thank you,
guys.
Maggie, thank you. So Team Russell with Worcester 5-1, who really caught Maggie's eye in the paddock as well.
Sheldon rode here one winter. I think he came here the same winter that Rosinger Pravnik did for the first time, actually. Listen, he did well with her for post time. My feeling with this horse, Jonathan, is the last two races have been good. He's going to have to run a little bit better, I think, to win today, but he's a decent price. And if you go back, it's not as though he didn't have good form earlier in his career, and maybe Brittany can get the best out of him. He's going to need to take a step forward, though, a little bit to beat this field.
I was significantly more against this horse when I woke up this morning, but like I said, when we did that handicapping show earlier, talking horses, you talked me in to feeling that he had a better shot than he does. Look, he has some big numbers when he was for Bob Baffert, and we've seen this before, right? Some of the horses that that SF Madikit group gets, they will start them with Bob, and then they'll send them to Brittany, and she's done well with them. She's improved some of them.
Post time, I mean,
yeah.
She's done great with that
horse.
horse.
Yeah, she's improved horse.
And you look at this horse, right? This horse was off for 15 months plus when she first got him, and needed the first race and has run well in 2 starts. Now, this is a different group ball game here. There are no killers, though, in this race. I'm hoping he's in a position stalking the one. We'll see.
Yeah, look, there is upside. We'll see if the improvement can continue. It would need to, but not that far out of the realm of possibilities in here. And, you know, meanwhile, what do you guys think about Yo Daddy having the entire throughout now has been the favorite?
I'm not surprised, as Jonathan knows. We talked about this on Talking Horses, that he ends up a short price. He's kind of the now horse, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about this also. This race is wide open. I wouldn't really talk anyone off of a horse outside of like the 1, 4, and 6. I don't feel that between like the 3, 5, 7, and 8 that there's that big of a difference.
I wouldn't even say the 6 is without a shot.
Well, he did run well last time. He is cutting back. He's going to have to improve to win, but his last race was good.
Favorite, though, it's still Yo Daddy on that 2-race win streak as we go back to Maggie.
Yeah, well, my heart, definitely riding with Curvestone. He's one of my all-time favorites, but again, I think he's better a little longer. But taking a look at Coastal Mission, speaking of a little longer, he does get an extra furlong to work with in this Stymie, and while he's run well at 7 furlongs in the past, a lot of that's come when going 2 turns at Charlestown. So I like him getting a bit more ground to work with, considering he was just completely out-sprinted last time out in that toboggan, and certainly that form flattered by the fact that Full Moon Madness coming back and winning today. He was able to make up some ground late, but Arnaldo Bocachica really aggressively warming this horse up. So he wants to find him in a more forward and just better position to be in striking range range when they turn into the lane today. As we'll jump towards the inside with number 2, Law Professor. Look, at times this horse would be the favorite in this field. But what happened last time? I didn't get a chance to catch up with Connections or Kendrick Carmouche, for that matter, who rode him. It looked like something happened with this horse's equipment, like he got his tongue over the bit. So therefore, that's why he was tossing his head and getting out. So it just did not allow Kendrick any control over Law Professor. I don't think Rob Atchis would have him in here if he wasn't doing well. Guys?
Yeah, he is, no question. He's an old pro. That was a bad effort last time out. He's thrown in some bad ones before, but he's usually rebounded, Law Professor.
Yeah, listen, he does have races that give him a real chance to win this race, and I like the cutback, as you mentioned, Jonathan. I don't like his recent form.
Here's the Stymie. Chris Griffin, the call.
Stymie. And they're off. Winning on weekends. Breaks very well from in between horses. Also down towards the inside, here comes Concealed Carry. And Concealed Carry will now put a nose in front. Winning on weekends is going to stalk from second. These two now hook up as they get set to come out of the chute. And Winning on weekends wants to assert and now puts a neck in front. Concealed Carry is back to second. Yo Daddy is in between horses is third. Coastal Mission to the outside of that rival in fourth. They're in the 3 and 4 path. At the rail, that's Law Professor, who's a tracking fifth. And behind them is Bank Frenzy, the 2 at the back, Curbstone with Worcester. They work up the backstretch, and they are very tightly bunched. 23.43 for the opening quarter mile. Concealed Carry is in front. Winning on weekends right there. Tight spot for Law Professor as a shared third with Yo Daddy, who's ranging up on the outside. And here comes Yo Daddy, who's on the move as they approach a half mile left to go. Coastal Mission is in behind them. Bank Frenzy gets the hurry up here, is from the 6th spot, is about to split rivals, but Winning on weekends is just backing up. Bank Frenzy did find a seam, and here comes Bank Frenzy is taken third. Yo Daddy is trying to challenge Concealed Carry. Bank Frenzy with this sustained rally has just weaved through the field, and now Bank Frenzy all on his own has taken the lead very easily, is in hand. Bank Frenzy approaches a quarter mile left to go. Manny Franco looking all over, and Bank Frenzy now kicks away. It's Bank Frenzy trying to run away and win it right now. Coastal Mission is chasing from second. Worcester from out of the pack is running on late, also from far out of it, Curbstone. Bank Frenzy, though, has a furlong left to go, has a 3.5 length cushion. Worcester is now chasing, but running out of time inside the final 16th, confidently handled, and Bank Frenzy dominates here in the Stymie. Worcester second, Coastal Mission, and Curbstone in 1 minute 40 and 1.
Eye-catching move around the turn, and Bank Frenzy just keeps on rolling in his 5-year-old debut. He's now won 3 in a row.
No question, this horse is in great form, and we mentioned that Manny Franco winning another running of the Stymie. He ran very well, no catching him. Worcester got a bad ride, in my opinion. Whether or not he was beating the winner is debatable, but dropping him, the anchor on him, was a poor choice by Sheldon Russell in what was a moderate paced race.
Exactly. You said a moderate pace race, which did not appear to be something that would be favorable to a horse like the 5 Bank Frenzy, but he was never too far out of it. He stayed connected. And in fact, Manny was smart in moving when he did. He didn't wait to the last minute on this closer. He took the lead right inside the, inside the quarter pole, right outside the 3/8 pole. He took the lead, and that was the move that made the difference. Broke the race wide open.
Completely agree. Yo Daddy, very disappointing. He was sitting in a very good spot down the backstretch. He had absolutely nothing when it mattered in here, but this horse is in great form and gets another win.
3 in a row. Does this off the bench for the man standing by with Maggie.
Here with Rudy Rodriguez, the phone is blowing up. Wow, was that a move Manny put in with Bank Frenzy?
He looks very, very comfortable. I was a little concerned when he broke and they squeezed him a little bit, but then Manny got him there and he was just dragging Manny to the front. So it's good to see it. It's a nice horse. And especially when I see the track like this, it's the first time. I think his best race, he ran in the best track, and he showed today. He's just a special horse.
Was the time well worth it, giving him away? Definitely. Giving him off, I should say.
Definitely. I just tell Mr. Lar and Randy to give it the opportunity to this horse, and then we got a nice horse for the summer for sure.
He's all racehorse. Rudy, go get your picture taken with him.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, guys.
All right, Rudy Rodriguez, all smiles here, as he should be. What a nice New York bred, Greg.
Yeah, a New York bred in the Stymie against Open Company. Of course, we have a couple of undefeated New York breds in that Derby prep in the Gotham still to come, and Sacrosanct and Sand Devils. See if that trend continues today. But this horse, much the best. What a performance For this horse now wins for the 7th time, 15 career starts, 5 for 8 at Aqueduct. We're going to take a timeout. Volleyball Princess, she surprised everybody with that win in the Ruthless at 10-1 last time out. Can she go back-to-back and add a Busher Invitational win? Coming up on the road to the Oaks.
Quick Pink surging to win the Coaching Club American Oaks.
4K to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie.
McKenzie in a dominant performance.
One today, we get to all 2,200,000.
Chancer McPatrick proves best.
Chancer McPatrick wins the Champagne impressively. It is going to be all Scottish Lassie. She wins the Frisette easily.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage of America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. Live overhead view look at Hot Springs and Oaklawn, race 5, just 2 minutes away. Start of the late pick 5 here, mile and a 16th. $25,000 claiming race, non-winners at 2 lifetime condition. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And we'll start off with the 5, Rivetage. You know, this is just one of those horses that's just a natural dapple gray. What a rich, hydrated look to his coat. Could not look better for 10-strike racing, Matt Shire. Really like what I'm seeing with this horse warming up, especially with Francisco Arrieta. The 7, another gray horse, Gluckstad, also making a really nice impression. This is a horse claimed last time for 12.5 by Steve Asmussen, making his first start for him. His son Keith aboard. Keith looking for his 100th Oaklawn Park victory, career victory. And this is a horse that's got 1 win, 8 seconds. And sometimes these horses kind of run to whatever their level is. Outstandingly turned out. This horse could not look any better. I think this horse is a major, major player here. And then the 9 horse, Tis Wicked Strong. Every time this horse runs for a tag, seems to run a good race. Shows up every time. Fernando Yara from the outside has to work out a trip, not get caught too wide into that first turn. But I thought this is a horse that not only looked good physically, but made a lot of sense on paper.
3-1 favorite right there on your screen. The 9, Tis Wicked Strong. Lindsey Schultz. Fernando Jara rides there.
All right, I got the race between the 5, 8, and 9 here. And I think I'm going to bet the 8, Fear of Union, who's dropping down after being voided claim last time. We'll see. Not thrilled.
Let's take a look at Fear of Union.
There's 2 back.
This was at Churchill in a win to break his maiden career start number 11.
Yeah, they were just too ambitious with where they placed him last time. The rule of thumb is you claim a maiden claimer, they win, you drop him down to about 50% where you claimed him, which would put him right where he's running today. He couldn't win that race last time. Maybe he's in a more effective spot today. Decent enough price.
I thought the 6 was interesting. A horse, the time form pace projector had loose. I didn't like his last race that much, but it came off of a little bit of a break, about a 150-day break. Now he comes back in here hopefully needing that race. with some races in the past that can put him right in the mix.
He's dropping out of the same race that Fear of Union came in. My concern with him is he broke his maiden at Belterra, but he's run plenty of figures that make him competitive here.
What do you got against Cincinnati?
I've been to Belterra, but I was there when it was River Downs.
I've only driven by.
It's right next to the Riverfront Music Center where the Grateful Dead have played many times.
How did I know?
I never saw the Dead there, actually.
6-1. Your whole life and geography that you know is all based around where
I
you've
would
seen the
say
Dead.
that most of the states that I've been to is because of the Grateful Dead. I don't think I would have driven through Mississippi and Alabama had it not been for the Grateful Dead.
So 3-1 favorite. We learn new things about Andy every day on the show.
None of it very interesting.
No, it's interesting. It informs us a lot about who you are. 3-1, Tis Wicked Strong. Mount Craig 6-1. And you, Megan talked about the 7. You're not very high on the 7, no?
I'm not betting horse claim for 12,500 and moving up out of 10 and 12-5 races to 25. We'll see. Steve Masters is winning races, but is only 10% trainer at the meet, to be fair.
Matt Dinnerman, the call. Start of this late pick 5 from Oaklawn.
Mount Craig and Gluckstadt have all gone in. So has Fear of Union. They're loading quickly here. Tis Wicked Strong, third last. Rivetage is second to last. Hand to the outside post. Here's Fasten coming up to the gate. We're ready to go. And they're off. Good beginning for all the runners. Tornado Road got squeezed a little bit coming out of there and drops towards the back of the pack early on. Charbon up on the pace with Famous Final Scene. Famous Final Scene strides forward to have a head lead on Charbon as they corner into the first turn run. Rivetage runs in the third spot. Tis Charming easing off the speed. He's fourth now with Mount Craig and Fastened, who's 3 wide. A length back to Fear of Union. Held right now in mid-division, a length in front of Tornado Road with Gluckstadt, and Tis Wicked Strong is at the back of the pack as they approach the backstretch run here. Battle on the lead. It's a contentious pace. Charbon outside with a half-length lead. Famous Final Scene gets a breather, backs away just a little bit in second. Now there's a space of 3 to Rivetage the Gray. Fear of Union finds an opening between horses and gets closer as level third with the Gray Rivetage, and then Mount Craig down on the inside. Gluckstadt is next. Tornado Road already sent along with a half mile to go. Tis Charming joins him from the rail. A deep Tis Wicked Strong is going to be parked about 5 wide going into the 4 turn run. He's out of harm's way as they pack up here. The entire field separated by 5 lengths around the turn. Fastened is given way to the back, and he's dropping back from the rest. Around the 4 turn they go. Famous Final Scene under siege from the rail. Charbon still with a narrow edge here, but Rivetage is poised to pounce, and Rivetage in the 3-path looms large, takes the lead. Charbon on the inside trying to hang around in second. Famous Final Scene gives way at the top of the lane. Gluckstadt right behind Fear of Union, who's running on strongly now. Fear of Union after Rivetage in the final furlong. Fear of Union, Joe Belmer to the lead. Rivetage second, a half length back. Fear of Union, he looked loaded on the back stretch, and he was ready to run today. Fear of Union drawing clear late for the Greg Compton barn. Fear of Union 2.5 ahead. Rivetage was second, Charbon third, and Tis Charming was fourth.
Fear of Union as given out by one Andy Sterling. Middle pick 5, by the way. The late pick 5 still to come. It's off a middle pick 5. It's 7-1.
Nice ride by Belmere. Got in good position, Jonathan. And when he got the clear run in the stretch, able to run down the 5 Rivetage, and no one else was close.
I was personally rooting for the purple and black of 10 Strike, but
no kidding.
The horse you picked.
Shocker.
Ran right by him.
We got to have a little, with your absence yesterday, little texting exchange with Marshall Graham. I don't know if you feel like he cheated on you, but he claimed a horse. We were having a little discussion with him yesterday.
Quiet Side indeed made a statement on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, a homebred for Short Leaf Stable. We'll talk about what's next. Stay with us.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear. 2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his forego, also running a 112 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Back at our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Gainesway. Power, passion, performance. As we continue along, second of 4 graded stakes on the Saturday card. And Bank Frenzy, this was impressive off the layoff.
No, he's a good horse and just continues to do a good job. And it's interesting, they paid a pretty penny for him. And I thought they bought a 4-year-old gelding. I'm not going to say the number, but it's pretty hefty. I actually think that he has, he's come pretty close to earning it back already. Goodbye.
Up next, 3-year-old fillies on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks. First Friday in May, a race in the past won by the likes of Search Results, Princess of Silmar. It's tricky. See who gets it this year. Liam in the Dust opens as the favorite for Rudolph Brissett from the rail.
Yeah, last year's winner, a nice horse as well. Jody's Pride for Jorge Abreu, run second in the Breeders' Cup. John and I both like Liam in the Dust here. We're agreeing, but I don't think either one of us are thrilled with her around 2-1.
Well, I think it checks out, right? It's not like we're the most smartest people in the room.
No,
if
we're
we
not.
both like
confirmed.
the horse, then there's a lot of other people that probably like the horse as well.
See how she does coming up. She's been off since early December. 3-year-old debut ahead. We'll talk through the field more in depth coming up in a moment. The Honeybee, quiet side, she was impressive in this race, winning, and how'd she go off at 10-1?
Well, because whatever the name of it, Mohima just took all the money, and she had gotten a terrible ride in her prior start. And in this race, the Ortiz brothers from posts 12 and 13, they came out firing. They put on a clinic of how to ride horses from outside posts.
Well, I think this is just a friendly reminder that if a horse is talented enough to win a maiden race or be competitive in stakes races for 2-year-olds at Saratoga, they deserve to always be respected moving forward. As they work through some issues, work through some bad trips, work through some bad performances. Quiet Side has always been a talented horse. She just had a couple of blemishes.
No, I agree. I think she's very, very good going forward. And I like it opens things up. Suddenly Brad Cox isn't so strong because it doesn't feel like the favorite in there is really a horse that wants to rate. Obviously has a very good one running at Fairgrounds. But she's a player in here. I thought she ran exceptionally well.
Career best 86 Spire speed figure in that performance. And yeah, no question, she is back. John Ortiz has a real contender for the Kentucky Oaks this year as we get a look at some that are set to challenge her. Who will step up in the Busher as we go downstairs to Maggie?
I thought that win in the Honeybee for Quiet Side was so well deserved and really fun to be a part of that on track at Oaklawn. But taking a look at the horses here assembled for this Busher in the Big A paddock, we'll start down on the rail. Whoa, I just got blown out on the PA system down here as the one Liam in the Dust coming back for her 3-year-old campaign is putting blinkers on, in which her trainer Rudy Brissett has said that they just want to get her a little bit more confidence, and that's why they're putting them on. And it's just a really small shortcut cheater blinker, so not changing too much in her line of vision. Now coming back, one thing I've noticed is that she's a lot more settled, and that often comes with some mental maturity, being another year older than what I observed from her in that Demoiselle, in which she pressed the pace of Mohima that day and faded a bit. We'll see. Maybe she doesn't want to quite go that far, so I feel as though coming back at this 1-turn mile is ideal. And she looks incredibly fit. I just wish she filled out a little bit more. It would be my only complaint with her. Just wish she possessed a little bit more muscle mass, but definitely no stone has been left unturned as far as her preparations by the looks of things here in the paddock. Number 2, Ramify, is a big price on the board, and Chad Brown experiencing a unseasonably cold winter here as far as his winners have gone. But tossing this filly into the Busanda, going 1 1/8, albeit off of a mile win, first time out, just felt like it was a little bit of a tough task. And on top of that, she caught a track that was really against her that day. Looking at her physically, I really like getting her back to a 1-turn mile. She's not that big in stature, but she's broad, and she's built a little bit more like a sprinter, but she has that distance kind of pedigree. And for me, those two things combined say that a 1-turn mile is ideal. She's fairly sharp in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see her a little bit closer to the pace than maybe what we've seen in her last 2. Number 3, Drexel Hill, is one of a few coming in here from the Fairgrounds. Her for Whit Beckman as she takes the blinkers off. And early on in the first half mile of that Silver Bullet day, she was just very hard on the bridle. For me, expending too much energy, before she came off the bridle, and she kind of just went in place from there on to the finish. She was wired by her stablemate and Simply Joking, but looking at her here, again, another filly, Greg, that just looks as though this one-turn mile is going to be ideal. Looks as though she shipped in here quite well for her connections.
Maggie, thank you. We'll get to the post parade in just a moment here. Liam in the dust still favored. As we see riders still getting a leg up here, and here is the one to beat on the board for Rudolph Brissett. Yeah, we'll see if he ends up being favored. The 9 ends up favored. I think they're supposed to put the pedal to the metal and try to wire this field. Reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer Chad Brown, Juddmonte, and Ramify next door.
Yeah, I mean, this horse should be about 7-1, and at this price, it actually makes a little bit of sense.
I was going to pick her, but not at the 7-2 morning line. At 7-1, I'd bet her.
Drexel Hill, Maggie was talking about, ran a big effort in a stake at Fairgrounds.
She's okay. She's only run twice on the dirt. She had massive trouble down inside 2 races back, and I thought her effort last time was good.
Volleyball Princess, is she for real off that upset win in the Ruthless?
It's possible, but not at that price.
Big price. Next door, Eddie Keneally with Amarth.
Feels like she joined her stablemate Normandy Coast in the Gotham on the trip here. Take a shot. I have great respect for Eddie Keneally. I just don't know if she's quite good enough.
Fortuna Mia Linda Rice split the field and attempted 2 starts ago.
It hasn't even really been close since the debut, which was at Indiana with a very slow speed figure.
Here she's fascinating. Big performance for Anthony Dutrow and a maiden win.
Yeah, another one that could take a step forward. She ran well last time. Mine shafts, to me, get better with age and with distance.
And Sharp Smile, Brad Cox was 3rd in the Busando last start.
If you like her, you're not getting the 4-1 she is. In all likelihood, she is a short price in the pick 3. I don't think she deserves to be. I prefer the Chad Brown runner out of that race, Ramify, as she was more compromised with her lack of speed, and a day speed was good, but she's certainly not impossible.
Now with more on the filly coming in from Fairgrounds, let's go back to Maggie.
Here with her trainer, Whit Beckman, as Drexel Hill. Whit, you put the blinkers on last time out in the Silver Bullet day. Obviously, you had a pretty nice filly in there as well with Simply Joking. Talk a little bit about the decision to bring Drexel Hill here and take those blinkers off.
Yeah, I think we overshot the mark just a tick with the blinkers last time. She was a little keener than we wanted. In her first start in the Fairgrounds with me, she was a little far back, and she kind of put herself in a position we didn't love. So we got her out of that, but like I said, she was a little too keen. So we pulled them off here, even though we are cutting back. I think it'll just, settle or relax her enough where hopefully she can get a trip, but not quite so close.
Bringing Ben Curtis here as well to ride her.
Yeah, he's gone along brilliantly with her over the course. Like, he's down in New Orleans with us, so he's been breezing her. He rode her in the last race. So just figure keep it all the same for now.
Really strong with the 3-year-old fillies this year. Where could we see Simply Joking next?
She got a little sick on us. We were supposed to run in the Rachel, but we're thinking possibly we got the Fairgrounds Oaks, I think it's the Fantasy or the Ashland are kind of the 3 on our radar right now. We haven't made a final decision yet, but figure it out in a couple days.
Well, best of luck with her and Drexel Hill here.
Thank you.
All right, Whit Beckman, nice to see him back in New York, guys.
And see what his filly Drexel Hill can do here with that one race experiment with the blinkers ending in this race.
Yeah, no, I think that she's a dangerous player in here coming from out of town. A lot of horses can win this race. I mean, we haven't even talked about Volleyball Princess, for instance. I mean, her last race was very, very good. It's just kind of want to see it again, and I'm not inclined to take 4-1 on her today to see it again, but she ran big last time.
She ran really well. The problem was it was basically just her against herself.
Yep.
She didn't deal with any adversity. She's clearly going to deal with at least a taste of adversity today. I mean, look, if you see a rider looking back between his legs at the quarter pole, then the race is likely over, unless it's Paco, because he likes to look back a little bit too early. But in this situation,
you're right, though. It was a one-horse race. Nobody else showed up, but she did run well, and maybe she's turned the corner. Sometimes these horses, they're not flukes, they're not flash in the pan, so I can understand taking a shot with her. It's a lot of horses. You were talking in the post parade about she's fascinating. My concern with her, and you made a different point, which I think is valid, I'll let you make it, is that she improved. And that's the 8, she's fascinating with Lasix. That concerns me, as in stake races, they can't use Lasix.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning, like to your point, whenever I see a performance, you guys talk about it often, one number horses, right? You see a horse who's got one big number, then you do have to ask yourself, well, where did that number come from? When you look down at this performance, you think, oh, well, the difference is Lasix, right? She had Lasix for the first time.
We're talking about the 8 in this right now.
Yeah,
She's fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right. I mean, it's definitely a concern. Now, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe she just got better.
She is looking at the board. It's a little cold on the board right now.
She is, yeah, or maybe she's just a good bet at that price if you like her, and I wouldn't dissuade anybody. Ramify and Sharp Smile both come out of the Busanda. That was a day when speed was almost impossible to overcome. I think they were both compromised. I thought Ramify was more compromised because she has less natural speed, but I think both of them can run better today on a fair racetrack.
There again, though, there's she fascinating, and for her, that was, look, her 3-year-old debut, and maybe it was Lasix. Maybe it was. We'll find out more today. But it was also, just her second start on dirt and her first start on a faster track.
That's the point Jonathan had made to me when we were talking about the race a bit earlier today. Maybe, she's just a dry dirt horse.
Yeah, that's the other reason. Like, yeah, you look at her past performances, start from the bottom and work your way up. Maybe she didn't like the turf. Maybe she didn't like the slop. And maybe it has nothing to do with the Lasix. Maybe it was a fast track.
I think that's fair.
It certainly could be the Lasix, and she might not run.
And I don't like the second place finisher who had a lot of trouble in this race, came back and ran very poorly here the other day. That bothers me a bit.
But the great part about a horse like this that has these questions, we're trying to figure it out. At 7-1, I have no problem trying to figure it out. What you don't want to do is start trying to answer questions like this with a horse who's 5-2.
I don't disagree with that at all. And I had originally picked the race 2-1-3. The morning line had the 2 at 7-2 and the 1 and 3 better prices, and I really did it because I thought the 2 would be a better price. So I changed my picks. So I don't mind that, but at 7-1, I'm going to actually bet a few dollars on the 2.
Yeah, no, I mean she is a poor wager in my opinion at 3-1. She is a good wager at 7-1.
I agree with all of that.
Meanwhile, with more on She's Fascinating, did she move up with the fast track? Was it the Lasix? Was it just getting better as a 3-year-old? With more, let's go to Maggie.
So many questions, Greg, that I probably can't answer. But I will say this about She's Fascinating. I, too, like Andy, don't like the fact that that second place finisher, albeit an incredibly well-beaten second place finisher, came back and disappointed at a very short price a few days ago. But this horse has been training up here in New York. Tony Dutrow and most of his horses are in Florida, so I do believe that she is spending quite a bit of time with his brother Rick Dutrow in his stable. Looking at her, I just wish she filled out a little bit more. She's still she still more looks like a turf horse, which is where they debuted her, than, that kind of strong type of dirt runner. So I think it is a little bit of a tough spot coming in off the back of that, and I wish she did a little bit more for me physically, but I get it. I get Jonathan saying, yeah, give me the 7-1 on a filly that could be heading in the right direction. I'm going to land on Sharp Smile here. I just don't think she wants any part of going a mile and an 8. She's a daughter of Practical Joke. Again, like many, the racetrack was against her. I should say like Ramify, was against her last time in that Busanda. I think she looks fantastic here for Brad Cox. So I'm going to take a shot with her. I have a lot of respect for the 3 Drexel Hill. As I was talking to Whit Beckman, and gosh, he's really loaded with his 3-year-old fillies this year, because before that, he was beaten by his other 3-year-old filly, Her Laugh. Guys.
Stacked right now. We'll see if that depth continues here, and Whit Beckman can continue to move on to that road to that first Friday in May. 50 points to the winner, which would guarantee you basically getting into that starting gate.
I got to tell you, I am shocked that the horse that we like, the 1 is 2-1. I would never have picked her this price. I would happily pick the 2 or 3 at better prices in here, but that's the way it goes. I never thought this horse would be favored.
50 points to the winner to get into that starting gate in this year's Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Favorite, Liam in the Dust from that inside post, making her 3-year-old debut. Chris Griffin with the call.
Last to load. Hesitates briefly. Sharp Smile is in. All set for the Busher. And they're off. Volleyball Princess broke very well from in between horses towards the outside there. She's Fascinating, who applies pressure. Liam in the Dust at the rail is moving on through. Amarth is going to take back. So will the Gray. That's Sharp Smile up on the far outside as they get set to come out of the chute. And the leader is She's Fascinating, a neck advantage. They're very spread apart here as Volleyball Princess will work over to the rail. And now they're a clear 1-2. Just off of them stalking is Sharp Smile from third. At the rail, Liam in the Dust from off the pace. Amarth is a touch keen in the center of the racetrack, starts to move forward from fifth. It's 3.5, almost 4 in front of Ramify and the two trailers, Drexel Hill with Fortuna Mia. They work up the backstretch 23.64, the opening quarter mile. And now Volleyball Princess has secured the front. She's Fascinating is stalking from second. Sharp Smile gets the cue, is shoved along here from third. Amarth with those big bounding strides is making a 4-wide run. And here comes Amarth, 47-3, the half-mile time, and Amarth is on the move. Liam in the Dust is all in, not cutting into the ground yet, is there in fifth. Also running on from the back, here comes a run from Drexel Hill. Ramifies trying to pick it up, but the trailer, Fortuna Mia. Volleyball Princess still with a nose in front. It's Volleyball Princess trying to fend off the charge of Amarth, who's big down the center of the racetrack, is running after the leader, and Amarth is trying to kick away at a big number here in the Busher. It is Amarth who's sprinting away. Volleyball Princess's game. Drexel Hill is making up some late ground. Drexel Hill might try to split rivals here. Drexel Hill is rolling. Amarth needs the line, and here comes Drexel Hill in the late stages. Drexel Hill, Ben Curtis, they win the Busher. Amarth was second, then came Volleyball Princess, and Fortuna Mia finished fourth in 1:41.46 seconds. It was Drexel Hill in the 46th running of the Busher.
Maggie Wolfendale picked the right interview. Drexel Hill, Whit Beckman, Ben Curtis, and this filly picks up her first stakes win on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks.
And in a race that featured a fair but moderate pace, this is the only horse, Jonathan, that made any kind of run whatsoever. No knock on the 4, by the way, Volleyball Princess, who ran back to her last race. The 5 horse, Eddie Keneally's a dangerous man. You may want to take a look at his horse in the Gotham, Normandy Coast, after the way this horse ran. Maybe moved a little soon. The winner ran well.
Yeah, yes. Maybe hindsight moved a little soon. But I tell you what, I love that ride from Kendrick.
Yep.
That's the way you win races like this. You be aggressive, not waiting. It happened that it didn't work out. And then Ben Curtis, great ride. Patient ride on this horse, sat back, made one run, came running. You liked him on the turn. And he just grinded down a horse. It probably moved a little bit early, but I don't believe that you can have two opinions of I want my riders aggressive sometimes, but then sometimes I don't. I think you have to pick one. I prefer aggressive, so I commend Kendrick for what he attempted to do.
And by the way, saying he moved too soon is saying it in retrospect. If the 3 doesn't run, he didn't move too soon. He won by 3 lengths.
If the 3 gets stopped
it's right.
at any point.
And it's also like the MIG says, and he's basically what you said. If my rider makes a mistake, I want him to make a mistake, an aggressive mistake, not a passive mistake.
100%.
3, 5, 4, 6. It's Drexel Hill with the win coming in from Fairgrounds for Whit Beckman. Let's go to Maggie.
What you said is that we parted ways after that interview pre-race. You said, if I'm going to win a race at Aqueduct, I want to be here. And boy, did your dreams come true.
Yeah, it's kind of an exclamation point on a short career. I spent a lot of time up here, so to sit in that theater room and get one win at Aqueduct, yeah, it makes it worth it.
Talk a little bit about your emotions. I'm watching her early on, her and Ben. I was like, what is happening? And then that run through the stretch, wow.
Yeah, early on it didn't appear like she wanted much part of what was going on. He kind of had to keep after her, kept tapping her on the shoulder on the backside. But, once she kind of came around the turn, I started to kind of engage. And then once he got her flattened out down the stretch, she just, obviously responded beautifully. So hats off to Ben and her. And, yeah, they made me worry, but I'm happy now.
Wait, you have 3 legitimate Kentucky Oaks type of contenders for, what, is this your second, third year fully of training?
Third year, yeah.
It's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, for a short stable and just I got to give it to my owners and the people buying horses for me. We only have 40 horses, but to have 3, fillies of this quality just goes show we got good people picking horses, great owners buying horses, and I'm just happy to be in the middle.
Keep up the great work. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, really cool. I spent many a winter here, and Whit has been alongside me, so this win, I'm sure, extra special, guys.
What a feeling to have a filly of this kind of quality who now, look, has the points to get into that starting gate in the Kentucky Oaks, and that dream stays alive.
And with a rider who rode the most impressive 3-year-old we've seen in magnitude, who unfortunately got hurt, Now he's got a horse that's very firmly in the conversation for the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, and it's not just because it's a little bit of the 1 1/8 race doesn't mean the horses need to come from out of it. But this horse will finish her races, and that's definitely something that goes a long way on that first Friday in May.
Wins at 5-1 here in the Busher. Whit Beckman, just recently, as Maggie talked about, went out on his own, and now not just one, but 3 very talented fillies who are in the picture for this year's Oaks. Drexel Hill, though, impressive here. Running by that long shot. Volleyball Princess did really kind of back up what she did last time out. She ran a good race in defeat.
No question about it. I mean, I think she legitimized. She didn't win, but this was a much tougher field. That was an excellent effort. There were a lot of horses behind these that did absolutely no running.
To Oaklawn and a pick 4. Beginning in this race, $50,000 maiden claiming sprint at 6 furlongs. As we look at Putting Eagle at 3-1 right now, has had 5 opportunities. A little bit, beaten favorite, I will say, last time out. Let's go to Mig for more.
Yeah, but taking somewhat of a drop in class, and you get Tyler Bacon, Greg, who, to me, one of his gifts as a young rider is horses running up into his hands, getting them balanced out. When a horse uses himself sufficiently, they carry their speed further. I think this horse just landed in a good spot here. The 7-horse Pride's Prince, they came out of a mutual race. Pride's Prince had a bit more time since their effort when they met. Looks fantastic. It's a Steve Asmussen runner. Again, Keith Asmussen looking for his 100th career win at Oaklawn Park. First-time starter I thought was interesting from the Ron Marquette barn is the 8, Jinxie. This mare's a producer. She's had 6 foals that produced 6 winners already, and horses that have run well on debut and winning in their second start. Horse made a really nice impression, and Ron's having a terrific meet. And then the other Steve Asmussen runner, the 10, McMusic, ran, I thought, in a pretty tough maiden allowance race. Kind of ran in spots. I thought kind of running with the emergency brake on in stops and starts. With that race under his belt, Son of McLean's Music, I think you'll get more continuity from the run, and I think just natural improvement second time out and a little bit of an easier spot.
All right, Mig, thank you. Favorite, the 7, Pride's Prince, Team Asmussen, Steve with son Keith aboard, who just missed off the layoff last start.
I mean, obviously, this horse is very dangerous off the last race. One concern is, do you think the 9 Montana Cafe, Jonathan, could put pressure on this horse?
He certainly can, and he's drawn outside of him, which makes it even more tricky. We'll see if Keith's aggressive to the front here, he should be tough. But I also think there's a huge difference between a $100,000 maiden and a $30,000 maiden. It's a big difference.
No, I don't disagree. It is and it isn't, but I don't disagree. I don't like the 9. I just think the 9 could be breathing down this horse's neck.
Yes.
Nick Juarez can be an aggressive rider, and I wonder if that gives a little bit of an edge to a horse like Putting Eagle. On the other hand, Putting Eagle's had his share of chances too, but I guess he's the horse to beat. I don't know. Who do you think's the horse to beat, the 2 or 7?
The 7.
More speed?
Yeah, the 7 for sure.
Okay.
And the public agrees slightly.
What about the 8? Is it Jinxie? First-time starter.
Yeah, taking money for Ron Marquette.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of money in there. I guess, maybe there just aren't that many alternatives in here for anybody else to bet. So maybe it's sort of taking money as the firster against a couple of horses that are sort of okay.
The other Asmussen, is that one interesting to you guys at all? McMusic, the 10?
No, not to me.
Second-time starter?
No, it didn't take much money on debut for a tag. Broke slowly. Comes
Not
back
badly,
in.
but
yeah.
I think the 2 and 7 are superior horses. He could improve second time out, but I would prefer the 2 and 7 to that horse. No great shakes. We're talking about the 2 favorites here, but not going to try to make something when there's nothing to be made.
5-horse rolling by, taking some attention to 9-2 Tiptoe Joe. Start number 6 was about a length behind Putting Eagle last time out when going 4 wide.
3 opportunities for a tag, never within 5 lengths. Never really even bet. 10-1, 43-1, 9-1.
Yeah, for some reason is today.
A lot of Joes. A lot of Joes at Oaklawn Park today, I think.
Pride's Prince, the 7. 1 of 2 for Steve Asmussen. He's got both sons aboard, Keith and Eric. on the 7 and 10 respectively. Matt Dinnerman with the call.
To the starting gate. E-Money, post position number 11. Arthur's Court in the blue jacket. And one back, Real Blues to the outside post with Ramon Vasquez. Real Blues. Goes it. We're ready to go. One of them on the outside, a little restless in there. Couldn't see exactly who it was. Looks like the 11, E-Money, was the horse acting up in there. Travis Wales getting back in the saddle. We're ready to go. They're off. Slow break from Hecamighty from the inside post. No problems from Montana Cafe, who's quick, but Pride's Prince is quickest. And Pride's Prince leads the way from Montana Cafe. McMusic right off of them, running in the third position. Putting Eagle to the inside, stalking the pace on the fence in the early part. Arjun for Cars the long shot. 2 lengths off the pace in the black. Another 4 back to Real Blues. Tiptoe Joe to the inside. Arthur's Court, the first-time starter. And midfield, while sent along going into the far turn, the gray E-Money and Jinxie. They're next, and Hecamighty is at the back of the pack as they round the far turn. Pride's Prince does it well, it appears, with 3 furlongs to go. Pride's Prince says, come and catch me if you can. A length and a half in front. Putting Eagle takes second with McMusic. Now McMusic sticks his head out to claim the second position. Coming to the top of the lane, Putting Eagle remains on the rail inside of him, but Pride's Prince continues to go smartly. Pride's Prince going strong. Pride's Prince with a 2-length lead is switching leads now. Putting Eagle trying to run him down. McMusic stunned as he's left behind in third. Furlong to go. It's Pride's Prince and Keith Asmussen. Putting Eagle, Tyler Bacon gaining ground gradually here. Pride's Prince continues to cling on to the lead though, and he's got it. Pride's Prince to score. Second home, Putting Eagle, then Arthur's Court and Tiptoe Joe.
Pride's Prince turns the tables in the rematch here with Putting Eagle, gets the best of him and breaks his maiden.
Yeah, look, he was a part of a race last time that fell apart. He was close on that pace, so you'd like to think that he did a lot of dirty work there. Comes back in here with a fast figure last time and aggressively ridden, right? Keith Asmussen puts him on the front end and made every pole a winning one.
Wins it 9-5. When we come back, it's the road to the Derby with 2 unbeaten New York breds going head-to-head. Sand Devil for Linda Rice and Sacrosanct 3-year-old debut coming up for Brad Cox.
Newgate sold for $850,000 as a yearling. His full sister, Denim and Pearls, sold for $2.8 million. His 108 buyer was the fastest of any into mischief in 2024. He posted a 122 Equibase speed figure and ran a -2 1/4 on the Thoroughbred sheets. In all, he defeated 8 individual Grade 1 winners. New to Three Chimneys.
The brilliance of the legendary Arrowgate and the speed and stamina of the sire of sires, Uncle Mo. Introducing Petulante, the first son of Arrowgate to stand in New York after winning handily at first asking.
Petulante! He's got a kick here, and he's going to prove much the best.
He won or placed in all 7 of his lifetime starts, including the Grade 3 Salvatore Mile.
Petulante, Nimbus class, Petulante!
Petulante, now standing in New York. For information, visit IHDVStallions.com today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Racing to the top of the stretch, Secretariat shows the way by 2.5 lengths. Champagne Charlie is second, 1.5 lengths. Dawn Flight is third, and Harrison Kidd past the quarter pole. But Secretariat now in front by 1.25 lengths. Champagne Charlie on the outside up to challenge. Down the stretch they come. Secretariat on the rail. Champagne Charlie on the outside, 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Secretariat on the inside in front by 1/2 length. Champagne Charlie second, 70 yards from the finish. It's Secretariat now in front.
The immortal Secretariat, 1973 Gotham. They actually tried to install some new tactics that day, putting him forward, but hit the side of the gate when the gate sprung. Had to sit in third, would take over the lead, approaching the half-mile pole, equaled a track record and the fastest 3-year-old ever run by a mile in New York.
Well, until Easy Goer.
At the time.
Yeah. At the time, yeah, he was an amazing horse. He also lost the Wood Memorial. They say, I think he was sick, and he finished behind his stablemate, Angle Light. Of course, he went on, obviously, and won the Triple Crown after that. And it's nice to hear Dave Johnson with the call there, too. The inimitable Dave Johnson.
Some good ones, have come out of the Gotham. Probably none better than that one. As we look at this year's field coming up, where it's 2 New York breds who are still in the show, at least pre-story in here. 2 undefeated, Sacrosanct and Sand Devil. Linda Rice trying to get to her first ever Kentucky Derby with that horse.
And listen, he's obviously very talented. He's got a pedigree that suggests he's supposed to be able to go longer on the dam side. Now, he is a Violence, so it should happen there. Jonathan, he's got a real test here with the speed, though, of Sacrosanct inside of him.
Yeah, that's the biggest obstacle. I mean, if there was no Sacrosanct, and I guess you could say the same thing about Sand Devil for Sacrosanct. If there was neither one of them involved, I could see one of them kind of getting loose, maybe having a nice trip in here. Just can't imagine one of them's going to get a nice trip.
And, the last 2-mile races, the Stymie and the last race, they went around 23-3 of the first quarter. I think there's a chance this first quarter is below 23.
They're going to be running.
Yep.
There's Sand Devil, 9-5 favorite right now. Little bit, first of all, he's just run incredibly fast races, but an extra edge that he just has the recency as well.
Well, I don't know. He ran 3 weeks ago, and that's the question. Do you love him off 3 weeks? So these days, 3 weeks is like coming back in a day. So we don't see it that often, but I don't worry about it with Linda Rice. Her horses run extremely well off shorter rest.
Yeah, no, not a concern at all.
9-5 favorite. He's undefeated, 3 for 3, dominant. Obviously, 2 starts back, only won by a neck, but did improve in terms of how fast he ran last time out. As we look at New York's road to the Kentucky Derby, 50 points to the winner in this Gotham to get into that Derby starting gate, and then the big one, the Wood Memorial, on April 5th.
And Captain Cook is laying in wait for that one for trainer Rick Dutrow. And maybe he doesn't look like a Derby horse to some people, but I think he is.
Meanwhile, the other undefeated New York bred, that is Sacrosanct. Perfect 4 for 4. Let's head downstairs to Maggie. How's he look coming back for that 3-year-old debut?
Yeah, Greg, I'm honestly slightly concerned because as it has been reported, this horse meant to run in the Withers, but because of a foot bruise, it kept him away from a breeze. Furthermore, let's not forget that training here in New York is a little bit of a challenge given the winter that we've had with snow, with freezing temperatures. So I'm just concerned, is he fit enough? Is he strong enough is what I'm observing from him today. He's always been a horse that is quite lean, and he's actually developed into a more streamlined type of individual now as a 3-year-old, but lacking a bit of muscle mass, especially behind the saddle, which is something that was not the case during that 4-streak win campaign as a 2-year-old. So at least comparatively with your favorite Sand Devil in here, I prefer the recency of Sand Devil, who makes an excellent impression here in the paddock, kind of moves like a cat, and I really like him getting back out to a mile. But taking a look at some other competitors in here, including number 9, that is Garamond for Chad Brown. Now, it's an all-turf pedigree on the bottom side, but Chad knows what he's doing when identifying turf horses, that's for sure. But he opted to run this guy on the main track at Tampa, going the 6.5 furlongs first time out. Now, he is built a little bit more like a sprinting type. He's a little bit more compact, smaller in stature, but he's kind of got that nice, long, scopy neck to him. So jumping out to a 1-turn mile here actually doesn't seem like too much of a stretch. And furthermore, he's a really nice, laid-back type with a lot of class, it seems as though that he possesses, the son of Uncle Mo. So we'll see. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if at one point in this horse's career he does find himself on the turf, but as of now, let's stick to what has worked. Is taking some money. As to his inside is the half-brother to Torpedo Anna. That's McAfee, whom has been a vet scratch twice leading into this comeback race here in this Gotham. He was meant to run in the Jerome at the beginning of the year. He was a vet scratch 2 weeks ago in an allowance race, which we saw my Matoli win back on Valentine's Day. Look, he looks fairly fit to me. He's a bigger horse. He's got a lot of size to him. He's laid back in his disposition, though they did saddle him outside. Definitely not as a keyed up type as his half-sister is prior to her races. But he does return wearing those front wraps. And for a horse that, like I said, has been a vet scratch coming in here a couple times, I'll be taking the wait-and-see approach with him, Greg.
There he is, coming back for his 3-year-old debut. McAfee, the half-brother to the horse of the year, Torpedo Anna, who is getting set to make her 2025 return in Hot Springs soon.
Yeah, look, I mean, the ownership group doesn't feel as if the vet scratch was a soundness situation for McAfee, the 8 horse.
And that's real quick. Where Torpedo Anna will be coming back next week in the Azeri. She's been training at Fairgrounds in preparation for her return.
Can't wait to see her back. We'll be covering it. You
We
heading
will.
down?
I will be in studio, I believe.
With me.
With you, yeah.
Even being with me was enough of an encouragement to go down to Oaklawn. Okay, I get it.
Well, so in terms of what McAfee show, obviously the big pedigree. You see Torpedo Anna there, a half-brother, wins first time out. Has to show a lot more, doesn't he, here in this start to be a contender?
I mean, he's going to get the setup that he needs. I can tell you that much for sure. Now, yeah, I agree with you. You got to take that step forward. But he seems like a horse who's progressing in the right direction. And Andy, you pointed it out earlier. The fact that Dutrow could have ran at Parks, he cross-entered. He made a choice to run here. It's a confident move.
And listen, his last race. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of seasoning. He's running against some better horse than he's faced before. His last race at Churchill, though, was pretty good at a flat mile. I know you like him. I don't think he's a great bet at 8-1, but I can definitely see him being effective in here. This race, honestly, I don't think this race is filled with horses that can't win. I think there are a lot of horses who win. I think Pagode, the 6, is a little tough to make, but I don't think anybody else in here is absolutely impossible.
No.
This race kicks off the cross country, pick 5. Races 8 and 9 from Aqueduct, 7, 8, 9 from Oaklawn. So here we go. You can play that, of course, through Naira Bets. And yeah, there's questions with a lot of them here, as there should be in a lot of these Derby preps. We'll see who steps forward. But favoritism, we expected it to be Sand Devil. That's the case.
I'm surprised he's not a more strong favorite over the 4, but the morning line did have them pretty close.
So here's our post parade. We'll kick things off. Normandy Coast, back-to-back wins here coming in for Eddie Keneally.
Yeah, this is a horse that if you look 2 back, that 7 furlong race can get you excited about this one.
And there's the rider aboard who just won the Busher.
I think this horse is very dangerous.
Ben Curtis.
I have great respect for Eddie coming here.
We jump to Sacrosanct, undefeated New York bred.
I like this horse. I just worry about the fact that he's got some pressure to his outside for a horse that might be better.
Big maiden win for calling card for Mike Maker. He's gone backwards a little bit since.
Yeah, but I think he's had some trips in there, and I love him getting back to a 1-turn mile, which he had a huge race. He runs back to his maiden win. They're all running for second, in my opinion.
Undefeated New York bred Sand Devil for Linda Rice.
Listen, he's good, but he's getting the sternest test of his career, and you're not getting a big price to find out, but there is no doubt he is very, very talented.
A lot of questions for Pagode, whose only start was on synthetic. It was a win.
Maybe in a couple of years if the Gotham is run on synthetic.
52-1 for talented
No
trainer
comment.
Paolo Lobo, but this is a tough spot. Flood Zone, that was a quick maiden win at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't trust the figures. Gulfstream dirt figures are very tough to make. They probably paid a lot for him. He's a big price if you like him. I don't think he's impossible, but I'm skeptical.
Next door, here's the half-brother to Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, McAfee.
Should get the right setup here with these horses, the 4 and the 5, likely to hook up.
He was a 4-5 favorite in his debut for the reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer Chad Brown. Won that first start. Now here's Garamond for start number 2.
I couldn't bet him at 5-1 in here because he really has to get faster to compete, but I won't be surprised if he takes that step forward.
And back-to-back wins outside. Carlos Martin with Maimatoli.
I just can't design the race for this horse to get a nice trip. The 4 and the 5 have similar styles and are significantly better.
It's interesting that when he won last time, he was entered against McAfee, and McAfee was a heavy favorite in the morning line. McAfee was scratched by the stewards. It's interesting to see them hooking up here.
A win here, and Linda Rice likely going to her first ever Kentucky Derby. She's standing by with Maggie.
Yeah, here with Linda and Sand Devil. Last time I spoke to you after that Damon Runyon, you weren't thrilled with how the race developed, even though he showed a lot of grit. The fractions were too slow. What's the game plan today going the mile in a bigger field?
I think there's more speed in this race, and I would think maybe the 4, possibly the 2. There's several horses in here. I'm hoping they go fast in front of him, and if he can find himself in a stalking trip, a couple lengths off of it, laying third, that would be ideal.
After that hard-fought victory in that previous race, have you noticed anything different about him in his training coming into this Gotham?
Yeah, he's a real professional. I mean, he's got a great mind, and we didn't really want to back up to 7 furlongs, but that's just the way the cards played. So we're back to a mile. I think the mile's better for him, and let's hope we get a good race.
Linda, best of luck with him. Really cool New York bred.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Linda Rice. Of course, she's here with a New York bred on the cusp of making it into that Derby, Greg.
There he is. So exciting to have an undefeated horse on the road to the Kentucky Derby. We'll see what Sand Devil gives us here in the Gotham. First try against Open Company. 9-5 right now with Linda's main man, Jose Lezcano, aboard.
And Chester Broman, the owner, has been such a huge part of our racing in New York and the New York bred program for a long time. It's hard not to root for this horse going forward, and it's just hard to ignore the effect of New York breds on the racing here. When you look at the first 2 choices and now the 4th choice on the board, all New York breds in the 3, 4, and 5.
Naira Bet's Derby Bankroll Builder. Back bet 50 to win in this Gotham. You'll get 20 for the Kentucky Derby to play. You do have to opt in at NairaBets.com. And yeah, you mentioned Chester Broman, who owns Sand Devil, wants to be back in that Derby, as you said. He and his late wife, they campaigned Friends Lake, ran 15th in the 2004
Well, he
Kentucky
couldn't overcome
Derby.
his rider. It was kind of a problem.
MIG. So they would love to get back there with another chance, facing, of course, as we've said, another undefeated New York bred. In this one, Sacrosanct.
It's hard not to see these horses moving early, and I think what's interesting is that Linda says, we show Sacrosanct, she thought one of the reasons, and I talked to Jose Lezcano about it, he felt the same way, that he didn't maybe run as well last time as people expected, was they went a little slow early, and he's a horse that's better if they're kind of moving him early. And Jonathan, like this horse, there's nothing that says good horses can't go fast early and still finish. We've just gotten so far away from that, maybe a lot of it because we run so much turf racing.
I think it's one of the lost arts of this game, is running horses off their feet. I think the first person I ever heard say it, I'm sure he didn't invent it, was Dale Roman saying that if I'm going fast, they're probably going too fast behind me because they're so used to staying connected. It's not often you let a horse just run off and be free. Usually the riders try to stay in the race. And if I'm going fast, they're going fast too. So their closing kick's not as good. And Shackelford, I think, was the horse I heard him say that about first.
You look at older races when Angel Cordero was ruling the roost around here. They didn't take any prisoners with speed horses. They didn't go 48. You could hear calls where they'd say, oh, a slow first half in 47. Now 47 feels like they're blazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, another one who could potentially show some speed down on the inside. That's Normandy Coast. 20 to 1 right now. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, Greg, we'll take a look at a duo of horses stretching out that looked the part, though, at least heading into this Gotham field. And we nearly saw Eddie Keneally pull off the upset with a Marth in that Busher, but he'll try to do the same thing again here with number 2, Normandy Coast, who just looks sensational. If you were blindly picking horses on appearances, it would definitely go to Normandy Coast. But as I've said a multitude of times, that's pretty typical with Eddie Keneally's horses. They usually look the best no matter what race they're in and who they're facing. Now, I don't know how far he wants to go. That's my concern. I wrote down he may be more of a sprinter, but you know, it feels as though Eddie's come here with some live horses up from the fairgrounds. Moving on to Brad Cox's acquisition, I should say new acquisition, number 7 Flood Zone, the Florida bred. He's going to try to stretch things out here too. Now, he was challenged on the lead whilst hard on the bridle. Then he took pressure around the turn on his outside. And then once Raylu Gutierrez shook the reins at him, he found another another gear, which I thought was promising given this stretch out in distance. And Brad Cox saying that he's gotten 3 works into him since acquiring him over at Payson, and that he's incredibly kind in those works and breezes, that he doesn't feel as though he's kind of like a proverbial runoff type where he might be able to dole out that speed. Now, on the pure looks of things, he does appear to be more of a sprinter type, but again, a lot of times they don't find it too hard to get these one-turn miles, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. So some big prices are intriguing, like Normandy Coast. We saw Eddie Keneally's filly obviously run very good in that Oaks prep.
Right. He brought one that accompanied this horse that looks far inferior in PPs, and Amarth, who ran a winning race in finishing second last time. Now he's got this horse who's a crazy price at 21-1. I think it's just outrageous, this horse at this price, and there's a massive overlay in my opinion.
3-2 favorite. What do you think we're going to see from Sandow? It sounds like Linda Rice is content to sit off the speed here.
I mean, my eyes are going to go immediately to the 4 and Manny Franco to see what they do. It's not too often that Brad Cox has a horse with speed and decides to rate. If he sins and the 5 sins, I worry they both might be in trouble when they get around the 8th pole.
Calling card the 3, Sacrosanct undefeated the 4, Sand Devil undefeated the 5. All New York breds trying to stay on that path to this year's Kentucky Derby here in the Grade 3 Gotham, our ABR race of the week. There's Sand Devil trying to get Linda Rice her first ever Kentucky Derby starter. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Last to low to the outside. Matoli goes in. All set for the Gotham. And they're off. Sacrosanct broke well, so did Sand Devil in between horses, but they're both going to take back as here's Flood Zone towards the outside. Flood Zone is the leader. Flood Zone is drifting out, way out there towards the far outside of the racetrack as they get set to come out of the chute. Here at the rail, that's Normandy Coast, is going to be close to the early pace as they're tightly bunched now. Sand Devil's in the 2 path as they really slacken off the tempo. Matoli is going to be 4 wide. Nobody really wants the front right now. It's Normandy Coast. Sand Devil in between horses, 3 wide. That's Flood Zone. Another lineup of 3 in behind as Sacrosanct is now a shared 4th and 5th. As right there is Garamond out wider. Matoli, that's the leading 6. In behind them comes McAfee, who's in 7th. Calling card is 8th, and the trailer, the back end of the field is Pagode. 23-4 for the opening quarter mile. Normandy Coast is going to hold the rail, but Sand Devil's now put a nose in front, is in the 2 path, and Sand Devil starts to inch clear. 47-4 was the half-mile time. Flood Zone is ready to challenge towards the outside. Sacrosanct is under a full drive, is trying to cut into the margin, but is far back. It's Flood Zone to the outside. Sand Devil's battling on. Matoli is ranging up. 3 wide. Garamond is looking for a way through. McAfee is launching a rally from the back of the pack. Pagode, Sacrosanct trying to run on 2. They reach the top of the stretch, and Sand Devil's trying to keep the undefeated streak going. Flood Zone is challenging towards the outside, but the gutsy New York bred is battling on, but Flood Zone is now edging clear. Here's Flood Zone out in the center of the racetrack. Garamond is trying to make up some ground. Also Matoli. Sand Devil's battling on, but Flood Zone is now weaving through the stretch, but Flood Zone is best. Flood Zone is going to win the Gotham. Flood Zone wins it over Sand Devil, Garamond, and Matoli in 1:39.62 seconds.
Flood Zone, somehow a Brad Cox 3-year-old coming off a huge effort, goes off at 17-1 in the Gotham.
And this is a fast race. They ran a lot faster than the fillies did in this race with a pace that was actually slower. Nice win by him. Sand Devil ran fine in defeat, stumbled a little apparently at the break, but this horse was much the best.
Absolutely. I'm still trying to figure out how the horse drifted up to this price for a trainer like Brad Cox, but and he attended the pace, right? He was involved. It wasn't like a lot of times you see 17-1 shots win, they get loose on the front end or a race falls apart. This horse was involved. If there was any dirty work to be done, he was doing it. And put away a horse like the 5 Sand Devil, who I would argue was probably a little bit disappointing.
He was a little disappointing. The pace was not particularly fast. Garamond actually ran extremely well to close to get 3rd. Matoli outran his odds. The number 3 calling card, I mean, I don't know that he would have won or where he would have finished, but Kendrick got absolutely jammed up, stuck behind the number 2 Normandy Coast going into the turn when he got caught behind that horse and completely eliminated.
Back to the start. Watch the 5. Little stumble to the knees. Quickly recovered.
I don't think that was meaningful at all from what I could tell. 2 seemed to stumble a little bit as well. The 3 broke a step slow. Kendrick staying inside with the 3 cost him any chance he had to win the race. Maybe he needed to save ground, but he got absolutely and completely stopped at the 3 ace pole.
2 sprints for a different trainer. Moves to Brad Cox, stretches out, and then produces this effort at 17-1 here. First time against winners on the road to the Derby.
It's like his dad. He likes one-turn races in New York.
Frosted, one of the brilliant performances. And we've seen a Met Mile. Whitney, incredible. What do you think about this horse going forward?
Well, this is a fast race. I will tell you that. They ran a lot faster than the fillies. Now, if you think the fillies got a buyer speed figure, let's say, of around 80, just throwing that out as a number, then this number is going to come back, a solid mid to high 90s, which is good. And you know what? I'm pretty happy for Raylu Gutierrez getting the win as well.
Absolutely. He's been, he started to come to prominence here in New York, and then he's been everywhere. He spent some time in California, some time in Florida, Louisiana, and to come back here where you'd imagine, at least at one point he was a bug here. Now he's winning a Derby prep in the Gotham.
So a Florida bred in a race that so much of the story was about those 3 New York breds, certainly those 2 undefeateds. It's all about flood zone. Impressive. 139.3 final time for the miles. We get back to Oaklawn. Mile and a 16th in this allowance optional claiming field. Coming up, wide open betting board. It's Legal Empress favored at 7-2 right now, coming out of the Martha Washington. That was a Oaks prep last time. That was a distant third. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, she certainly does come out of a strong race. I prefer others a little bit from a physical perspective. The 2, Princess M2, I thought she was eye-catchingly impressive, breaking her maiden last time under Ramon Vasquez, who rides her back here. And I like her style. I think she's going to have that kind of sit, stalk, and pounce kind of move. Kenny McPeak is represented by 2 runners here, the 4 In Awe of Juju, who, from a pedigree standpoint, I think will appreciate stretching out. She's had the 2 sprints out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare. Loved her warm-up. Left the pony. Really got into the bridle nicely for Julien Leperoux. And he also has the 5 Decadent, who broke her maiden first time out, going 7 furlongs at Gulfstream. A very tough debut distance, going 7 furlongs. And I think that bodes well for her ability to get the mile and a 16th. And both of the Ken McPeak runners really making nice physical impressions. And just to show you, Andy, that I pay attention, couldn't overcome his rider. Really? Friends Lake? Come on, bro.
I knew he was listening. I would have said it if I didn't think he was
You
listening.
only said
But
it
a total
with
waste
love.
if I didn't think he was listening.
It was all
I
with
thought
love.
Richie was off that day. I assumed that they kicked Richie off him, and that's why I was saying it. You didn't. Oh God, sorry, I didn't really.
So there are 2 Ken McPeak runners in this race coming up, including this one, who first time out wins on a wet track at Gulfstream. Now we'll get fast going for the 3-year-old debut and start number 2.
I thought this horse ran extremely well last time. And a horse who's adding Lasix here, gets in light with the bug, 113 pounds. I don't typically care too much about that, but look, this horse can absolutely win.
I found this race to be inscrutable. I thought a lot of horses could win this race, to be honest with you. I didn't have a big stride. By the way, I believe that this race was 3/5 of a second faster, the Gotham, than the Bank Frenzy race. Bank Frenzy routinely runs figures in the mid-90s.
Stymie, wow.
The Stymie. So that's true. This figure is over 100, and this is a very impressive win for this horse. And, it makes sense because Sand Devil runs numbers in the 90s, so why wouldn't this horse have run a huge
all of a
figure?
sudden, he's now, if that's true, that'll be one of the fastest numbers for a 3-year-old this year.
Correct. But I'll be reading on Twitter later, as I know you will too, how horses can't run at Aqueduct in the winter and go on and win big races. Like early voting and cloud computing and horses like that. It's tricky. And,
I don't read Twitter.
And Princess of Silmar.
I just scroll through for pictures.
Secretariat.
Yeah. Rat that he was. Easy goer. Gone west.
Well, we'll wait and see tonight.
Gulch.
Yeah, what that, and I'm sure you'll post it.
I will.
What that figure comes back, but
I will.
Exciting horse off of what he does in his first start in the Brad Cox barn. And we'll see if, what do you think? Probably would use the wood.
Well, if you go to the Derby with just 2 starts at 6 furlongs, and I'm sorry, 3 starts, 6.5, and you're crazy. So he's got to come back.
There's going to be another prep.
Yeah, they should leave him for the wood. We ran well at Aqueduct. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and in Brad's operation, he can leave horses wherever he wants. He's got enough folks in different spots to be able to do that. Why take him away from a racetrack he's run well on?
7th here at Oaklawn. This is the start of the late pick 5. 7-2 favoritism remains with Legal Empress, but yeah, those 2 from McPeak. The 4 in awe of Juju, making her 3rd career start. Decadent, impressive first down. That was a wet track. It's fast going for the first time in her 3-year-old debut here coming up. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
In awe of Juju's second to last, and Adira to the outside post. Here's Adira, go again. We're ready to go. And we're off. Tucking inwards at the start was Boutwell Time. Princess M2 from the inside. Prominent, but in awe of Juju moves up to come and challenge the front runners here. Kentucky Smoke Show is there as well going into the first turn run. Kentucky Smoke Show on the outside is a narrow lead here. In awe of Juju to the inside on a hold here, relaxing in second. Princess M2, Legal Empress, they're side by side. They're a length and a half better than Adira. Boutwell Time to the inside. Gap of 3 to Kinsey Queen. And Decadent is the early trailer swinging up the backstretch. Kentucky Smoke Show as the ears pricked up, keen on here, and leads the way by 2.5 lengths. Legal Empress now joining in awe of Juju, a joint second. Princess M2 relaxing in 4th. She's 4 or 5 lengths off the front runner, who wings it on the lead, Kentucky Smoke Show. Then comes Adira, Boutwell Time to the inside. Still a gap of 3 to Kinsey Queen. And Decadent can see them all with a half mile to go. Kentucky Smoke Show, the leader, 3 lengths ahead going into the far turn run. In awe of Juju, Legal Empress chasing. Kentucky Smoke Show well clear as they round the far turn. Princess M2 is underway, passing in on of Juju, who's dropping out of it. She's done. Adira trying to get up into the 4th position. Kentucky Smoke Show has about a quarter mile more to go. A 2.5 length lead. Legal Empress sent along, gaining a little bit of ground in second. Princess M2 right behind her as they come to the top of the lane. Kentucky Smoke Show off the turn. Let's see if she can finish. On the outside, Legal Empress is trying. Princess M2 even farther out. Decadent's coming with a surge. Here comes Decadent from the back of the field, and Decadent has taken over. In second, Legal Empress. Kentucky Smoke Show didn't get the distance, is dropping back. Decadent, though, she finishes full of run. And Decadent and Manny Esquivel win by 2.5. Legal Empress second best. Then Kinsey Queen from the rear gets 3rd. Kentucky Smoke Show 4th.
Decadent, she's undefeated. She's done it at 2 different tracks, 2 different types of surfaces. Did we just see an Oaks contender?
Well, I don't know. We'll take a look at speed figures and see where she is. She's going to have to improve a lot, but you never know. She's lightly raced. Jonathan, you said to me she's got a lot to do, and then we both said, she's moving. And you could see she was going to win the turn. You picked her up a lot earlier than some others.
Yeah, she's definitely going to have to your point, Wolfie, about is she an Oaks contender? She's going to have to be fast-tracked now, and it's never a great thing when you kind of deviate from a plan or start rushing a horse along. But I suppose she could maybe try to catch that last prep at Oaklawn. I'd imagine she'd be pointed to that if she comes out of this race sound.
2 for 2, wins her 3-year-old debut. Wins on the stretch out. Wins on a fast track for the first time. Things to like for Decadent for Ken McPeak with Manny Esquivel. We'll be back. And a very happy Raylu Gutierrez. He's got a Derby contender in Flood Zone.
Spun to Run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
Night Beacon airs at the home of Spun to Run's Breeders' Cup victory.
Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Back on our Saturday coverage, America's Day of the Races here on Fox Sports 2 and Flood Zone. 2 sprints stretching out for the first time, and now wins the Grade 3 Gotham on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by the Soul of an Angel flash sale on Fasig-Tipton Digital, offering Eclipse champion and Breeders' Cup champion Soul of an Angel. Bidding now open and closes this Tuesday, March 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern at digital.fasig-tipton.com. And again, it's worth repeating how much faster this horse went than older stakes-winning horses earlier on the card in the Stymie.
You know, and it's interesting to see. We've had 3 straight 1-mile races. The next race a mile as well. These are the easiest figures to make. So when everybody on Twitter says that, you know, Beyer likes Brad Cox horses or horse at Aqueduct, and that's why he got a big figure, they'll be wrong. And I'll be interested to see how this time compares to this race coming up. Because these are pretty good horses coming in this race that rate to run Beyer speed figures in the mid to high 80s. I won't be surprised when the time is 2 seconds slower than this.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Here with winning rider Raylu Gutierrez and Flood Zone. Ray, I caught you sneaking a little hug and a kiss on this horse, and I know that you reached out after Brad Cox and Connections acquired him to stay on him. This horse must be pretty special to you.
Yeah, I mean, first time I worked him, I felt something. That first time he wasn't keyed up ready, but he still ran really good. Last time he won so easy, and I remember I just showed up at the barn, and Victor was like, hey, we sold him, and it was like, I felt like my soul just be like, so whoever bought him, I was like, I just had to reach out. Credit to Jose as well, doing his job, and I mean, I did whatever I could to stay on him, and what an amazing horse. He doesn't even have a gate handler. All credit to the horse. He's so calm, but he's aggressive at the same time. Yeah. Breaking so sharp like that when there's 2, and I love my New York breds, 2 really good, fast New York breds, the 4 and the 5. Outbroke them. Now I'm just in control of the race on the outside. Brad Cox, amazing trainer. He had him ready to go. I mean, credit to Brad, the horse, this ownership group for keeping me on, just an average Joe, and now I'm here talking to you.
Of course, you reference your awesome agent, Jose Santos, doing the great job that he is always. But to Ray, this horse, you know, watching his win against Florida breds at Gulfstream last time, he seems like he has gears. Yeah, he does, and though I always felt that the longer he goes, the better he goes. And, you know, talking to my dad, I mean, him and I, we watch Aqueduct every day. New York is the best racing in the game. I'm here watching every day. And that outside, sometimes they get outside in the stretch. And I was a little worried because speed held yesterday, speed held today in the inside. And I was like, well, watching Ben Curtis that last race, I was like, if I break good, I'm outside. And when he goes 2 turns, he's only going to be better. You Derby dreaming? I'll leave that up to the Connections. I'm just happy to be here today, to be in New York, the NYRA Association, where I dream of riding every day. I'm happy to be here and amongst the best people and talking to you and my mom and dad watching, everybody from the Finger Lakes. I'm just happy to be in New York and winning the Gotham because I love Batman. I love that. We are incredibly happy to have you back. Enjoy this win. Well done. I will. Going to Don Pep's, getting myself a little spaghetti Eddie. You know it. That's the place. Greg?
That's one of the best answers I ever heard to Are You Derby Dreaming? Good for him. And yeah, take it one step at a time, see what's next. But fast time did not look like he was slowing down late.
No, this is an impressive win by him. He's guaranteed he'll go long, which means he'll never go long. But you have some bad news, though, for Raylu.
I did. I've heard, I don't know for sure, but I've heard that Don Pep's is closed today. So
think they'll reopen? If they bet on this horse, they'll reopen for Raylu,
hold on.
right?
So if that's true, just get in touch with JK.
I don't think JK has a lot of pull at Don Pep's, do you?
No, you can get him a great meal anywhere, can't you? At home.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he's probably not driving to Saratoga. I could be wrong, you know, but I'm going to think he's not going to Saratoga. But I'm already looking forward to texting Raylu the bad news. Because he just had a big win, so I'm a parade rainer, and I'm going to rain on his parade.
I don't think anything's going to dampen his spirits after this performance.
We'll see.
This was very impressive, easily handles this field, and we'll see. You know, you never know. But will he get better going 2 turns? Maybe.
Well, this is a year to have, Jonathan, a Derby horse, or a horse trying to go for the Derby, and you're not sure because there's nobody out there now that Magnitude got hurt that's running huge figures. And if this race comes back as fast as we think it does in a figure standpoint, this horse is very much in the conversation. He will be in my Derby top 10, which I know everybody is waiting for tomorrow. Everybody.
Well, it's interesting to see. We'll see what happens out west in California later today, but there could be Flood Zone's performance today. I'd imagine Barnes could do something special, but he doesn't have to. He hasn't done it yet.
And Fountain Youth at Gulfstream as well. As we take a look at the new updated Kentucky Derby leaderboard, Flood Zone. first time facing winners, and all of a sudden now he's in position number 3 with 50 points, and that will be good enough to get him in. You would think, though, they are going to want to test him in 2 turns, and that would, like, if he stays here in New York, we hope he does. That would mean the Wood Memorial and a date with Captain Cook.
Well, he ran so well today, I can't imagine that Brad would want to take him somewhere else and take him away. He's got other horses probably to run in the other races, and imagine we'll see him in the Wood. And I mean, this was a very, very good race. The fact that he has speed is going to make him very dangerous going forward. Listen, there's a long way to go, and you can always dream about the Derby, but this isn't a fake performance. This was a very, very good performance based on the times of the prior 2 races.
Up next, race 9, New York breds, older veteran horses, quick to accuse. He's the one to beat. 2-1 favorite, Brad Cox Barn, Manny Franco. If he can repeat that start from 2 races ago, this race is probably over. Stay with us.
At the Keeneland September yearling sale, the premier thoroughbred auction venue in the world, Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm signed the ticket on the $5 million sale topper by Curlin, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings. He was one of $5 million plus yearlings by Curlin to sell. No fewer than 55 of his yearlings fell to the auction gavel, averaging nearly $600,000, making Curlin the #1 sire of yearlings in 2024. Curlin, the classic sire.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Bright future indeed. Bright future, the son of Curlin to win by 4. Bright future, Proxy, here's the line. Photo finish, Bright future.
Bright future, look at that. Bright future, the class prevails.
Bright future, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on our Saturday coverage, you're watching America's Day of the Races on Fox Sports 2. We just saw a thrilling edition of the Gotham, and a new Derby contender potentially has emerged with Flood Zone. This race, 1-turn mile, older horses here, 4-year-olds and up, New York bred, Allowance Optional Claiming Company. That is the one to beat for Brad Cox, quick to accuse.
I agree. If he runs back to his race 2 back, he's going to be a handful. He didn't run that well last time. It was a big speed track. He runs this race, he's the horse to beat, and the Cox horses have gotten that fire back. He was last time they were in a little bit of a lull.
He's just a little chilly. I mean, look, I don't want him at 2-1, but I actually thought if he was like gonna win, he was gonna be shorter than that.
Well,
I would.
The main horse you like, who's now the 2-1 favorite, the 1A.
Which is
and
problematic.
I'm not saying I was lame. I picked him 4th. He can win, but 2-1 to me seems like a dramatic underlay. He's not going to be that price, though.
Well, and you go back to his performance, quick to accuse. Obviously, it's so impressive in the runner-up finish 2 back. But the next race basically had no chance, right?
Well, it was the big speed track on January 18th, so he was compromised there, even though the winner did come from last. But that horse is in great form and also came up the rail.
Here's Hagrid's Flame. Remaining half of the entry gets post 2.
He just needs some pace to run out. He is in good form, but he's got to improve, and 2-1's a short price.
The rail to Neural Network.
He didn't run poorly last time, but he does need to run just a taste bit faster.
Dolly's Bank, 25-1.
Nice win last time, but this is a much tougher spot.
Landoro, contender for the Christophe Clement barn.
Yeah, Andy, you made a compelling argument for this horse. We were talking about it earlier. He definitely makes some sense in here. He's been bet in his last 3 races as well.
A big price on another intriguing one coming off a win Sundays with Sandy.
But he took advantage of that speed track on the 18th. Thought this was a tougher spot, and there's other speed in here.
Lots of trouble. Another one at 12-1.
I thought his two-back race was pretty good, but he did kind of get things to go his way.
Mike Maselli barn, Mighty Atlas with Jose Lezcano.
A horse who can be forward. I didn't like his last effort, though. It was a moderate pace, and he just didn't finish.
Quick to accuse Manny Franco for Brad Cox.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the horse to beat in here. I just feel like 2-1 is actually kind of chilly on this horse if you think he might run his race two-back.
Rock the weekend. Katie Davis aboard.
Better races seem to be on wet tracks, and even those may not be good enough to win here, thus the big price.
And 14-1, a horse who ran a very big effort at Parks. Will that translate here to New York?
There's definitely some speed in this spot. I don't think he's going to clear in here, but I can assure you that 10 Strike Racing not very likely to take speed away from their speed horses.
I thought this horse was the speed of the speed. Whether or not he's good enough remains to be seen.
Big price outside. Back to the 4. Landoro, Romero Mirage. And we're going to take a look at this one in action.
Yeah,
back on January 23rd.
The stumble at the start was meaningless. He really stumbled a little bit forward. It didn't matter. I just thought he was kind of running in spots. He was coming off a couple months. You know, like right in here, he kind of looks like he's in the green, that he's sort of given it up. And this was a fairly moderate pace, and then all of a sudden he kicks in again. It's just kind of like he ran spots, and I think that this race where he got an 80 Beyer speed figure, the best number he's ever got. If you look at Shadow Dragon, who won, he's run fast figures before. He came back and improved 5 points. I think this may be a little bit better race than it looks, and I don't mind him in the 5-1 range. Take a shot with him. Liked him last time, didn't win, but I'm going to take another shot with him. I don't love betting horses back, but I think his price is right.
5-1 right now. Maggie likes him. Andy likes him. With more, let's go down to Maggie.
Guaranteed to lose then. I'm kidding. This is a horse that I like what Andy had to say about him, and I wonder, because he's kind of had a lot of stops and starts throughout his career, that now getting to run these 2 races back to back, we will see more continuity to his run. He looks fabulous. So good overall. And for a horse that is a bit of a bigger, heavier type, a lot of times they need that race, and he's gotten it. And 2, on top of that, for a horse that was always a little bit kind of on the chunky side, a little soft around the edges, that's not the case anymore. So I think onwards and upwards for number 4, Landoro. Now, I don't know what to do with number 6, Lots of Trouble, because so often this horse just grabs my eye and like, oh, he looks so good. He's so sharp as well. And I think because he's got some size to him that, yeah, maybe he'll be able to get the mile. But time and time again, he said, nope, I just want to sprint. Oh, they're back at it again here, trying to go this distance. For me, while I like him, like I said, physically, he just amps himself up too much, and he's a little untrustworthy, because at times he's run races fast enough to win here, but at times he just doesn't show up at all. So which version of Lots of Trouble are we going to get? And for me, he's 12-1. So again, if you like him physically, I can't fault him, but he's just so untrustworthy that if he had some sort of form, Greg, that was consistent, I'd take him. But that's not the case.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Meanwhile, Hagrid's Flame, the remaining half of this entry, I think it's taking a little more money than probably any of us expected.
Yeah, I mean, there was 4-1 morning line as an entry. I thought with the scratch of the 1, who actually probably was was the good half of the entry, I thought the price would go up, and it went down. I thought this horse was interesting at 5-6-1. The horse can still win, obviously, but I don't like him as much at 3-1.
It's interesting looking at the board. I mean, there are only 3 horses taking any money in here. The 1A, 4, and 8, right? Everybody else is double digits in a big price. I don't know. I didn't think it was that dichotomous a field. Now, I picked it 4, 8, 2. I think the 2 is a bit of an overlay at 9-1, but I'm a little surprised here. That's all. That's all I got.
And the 10's probably too big. Would you agree with the 10, 17-1, too big a number?
Yeah, it's too big. It's too big for a horse who's gonna, make some running. If he's gonna give you a thrill at least at some point. He's gonna be up there.
11-time winner in the dirt. We'll see if he can do it here in New York, though. And he does have speed.
And let's keep in mind, 1:39.63 was the time of the last race. And take a look and see how that compares to the time of this race, also
for
at a mile.
3-year-olds, these are older horses. 7-5 favorite. Now finally that money is coming in on Quick to Accuse. The 8, Brad Cox looking to go back-to-back. Manny Franco, 7 wins this week already and counting. As we get set for the 9th, let's go to Chris Griffin.
Landoro goes in. Sundays with Sandy. The King Cheek to the outside. Goes in. All set. Movement there, one rearing up. That was Dolly's Bank. Moreno back aboard. And they're off. The King Cheek flew out of the gate from the far outside draw, and the King Cheek is quickly up by almost 2. Just in behind. They're tightly bunched up now as here comes Hagrid's Flame, is trying to move in closer, but the King Cheek broke so sharply as well out in front as they get set to come out of the chute. Now Quick to Accuse is alone in second, and there they are lined up in behind the top 2 as Dolly's Bank, Orange Cap is moving through. Hagrid's Flame is at the rail. 3 wide in that group comes Landoro. 4 wide in that group, Sundays with Sandy starts to move forward. Up on the far outside, that's Rock the Weekend, and that 5-horse lineup there mid-pack. Towards the back end is going to be Mighty Atlas. Second to last will be Lots of Trouble. Not traveling there is Neural Network is the one at the back end of the field. They approach 4 furlongs left to go, 23 and 4. For that opening quarter mile, can the King Cheek keep going? The King Cheek has a half mile left to go. In full pursuit, here's Quick to Accuse, is now within a half length of the leader through a 47.62 half mile time. Also trying to run on is Rock the Weekend, is going to be 3 wide. Sundays with Sandy is in that mix. And here's a rush from Mighty Atlas. Mighty Atlas is on the move, is now about to challenge and take third. Quick to Accuse is in front, is going to have to hold off the charge here towards the outside from Mighty Atlas. Quick to Accuse reaches a quarter mile left to go and is sprinting clear. It's Quick to Accuse, just like that, who's now up by 4 lengths, and Quick to Accuse is running away with it. Mighty Atlas in full pursuit. Rock the Weekend from far out of it. Lots of trouble, but inside the final furlong, no doubt, Quick to Accuse is going to dominate here inside the final 16th. Quick to Accuse for trainer Brad Cox wins this one easily. Quick to Accuse over Mighty Atlas, Rock the Weekend, and Lots of Trouble in 1 minute 39.66 seconds.
Quick to Accuse dominates here in the 9th. No doubt about a performance, and just 0.04 seconds slower than what we saw Flood Zone run.
I won't be surprised when this figure comes back at 99. I mean, this horse just absolutely destroyed the field. We saw Brad Cox runner last week run a 105 buyer. Horses are absolutely exploding out of this barn right now.
Yeah, he was good. Look, he came down to 6-5. When he was drifting around 2-1, that didn't seem right. 6-5 felt like that's the performance we were going to see out of him.
My horse was virtually eased, by the way, Landoro. I don't know what went wrong, but he was almost eased.
And by the way, this horse, been told, was claimed.
I'm not surprised. He figured to be.
5-year-old runs a big effort here, but not quite as fast as what we saw in the Gotham from Flood Zone. 8-7-9-6. Manny Franco, Brad Cox, Rupp Racing, and the 4th career win for this 5-year-old.
I mean, this was ridiculous. I mean, this horse would have, I honestly believe this horse would have won the Stymie today. I really do. This was absurd how well what this horse ran.
Wins at 6-5. Public finally made him the favorite late, and they got it right here. 18-1 shot. Big move around the turn. Mighty Atlas winds up second as we go back to Oaklawn. Race 8, look at the current odds. 2 minutes to post. In the 6 furlong sprint, Arkansas bred runners, Allowance optional claiming field. And favoritism, the 12. That's Al's Romeo. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, Al's Romeo taking the most money, but I prefer a few others in here. And we'll start with the 4, Strato, coming off of a layoff for Ron Marquette, having a tremendous meeting. Keith Asmussen got his 100th Oaklawn winner, career winner earlier, and this horse could not look any better. Looks fit off the bench, really making a nice physical impression, and I think 7-1 is too big a price on a horse that has run races good enough to be competitive here as a 3-year-old. And now as a 4-year-old, you would expect to be even a bigger, stronger version. I guess the layoff is the question, but comes in with a couple of nice 5-furlong works. And I like everything I'm seeing from the 4 Strato. The 7 Cybertown, you get Christian Torres, your leading rider, turning back in distance. This horse's sprints, has sprints good enough to be competitive here. Thought this horse was quite interesting in this spot. And then the 10 horse, Brahms Image. This horse is a gem of consistency. He has run 5 races in a row where he has run a 75 buyer figure. He just shows up and does his job. He's one of those what I call a lunch pail horse. Brings his lunch pail, goes to work, blue collar, makes a really nice impression on the racetrack, holds his weight good, and I think he's going to be very tough. Listen, Al's Romeo ran a big race last time, maybe a better race than anybody else has run here yet. Just wonder how he reacts to that race. He doesn't seem to be always the most consistent type. If he runs that race, I guess he'll be very tough to beat, but physically, just preferred the 3 others I spoke about.
All right, Mig, thank you. Favorite remains this 12. Al's Romeo. Take a look at him last time out, January 17th. In a win.
He can win. I have the race down to 4, 7, 10, 12 is my sort of opinion in here. Problem with the 12, Jonathan, is last time was the time for him. Yeah, he's got great consistency. But he got 10-1 on him last time. Do you really need him at 3-1 in this spot?
Yeah, and he overcame the wide trip, and he had a wide trip in back-to-back starts, but this trip he overcame it. Do you want to take him at a short price to do that again? I thought the 4 Strato was the interesting one. Hasn't run since May, but he is a horse who seems to be training well for Ron Marquette and feels like the one that is at least a little bit more valuable.
Ron's having a great meet. He does not have great numbers. I looked up his 6 to 12 month layoff numbers in dirt sprints where he's just about 13% with a $1.30 ROI. At Oaklawn, he's 15% with a $1.50 ROI, but his meet's going well, and I don't think he's a bad play at 5-1 in this spot. It's all about price.
The 11, is there any upside there? Just a 2 starts, took a big move forward in that second start, but has not gotten out of the gate great the first 2 starts. 21-1.
He's not for me. I mean, I'm not taking him off a maiden win at 30-1 that I just think he has to get better, but I'm not knocking a big price. If you want to bet him at that price, jump in.
Meanwhile, the 4, Strato, that's the Marquette runner, one of them anyway. Got Burlsworth, named after late Brandon Burlsworth, former All-American from Arkansas, tragically passed away in a car accident. Named this horse after him. And we'll see if he can get his second win coming off finally breaking his maiden last time out, January 4th. Matt Dinnerman, the call here in the 8th.
Paramount Paycheck holding pattern. 3 more runners to round out the field. Al's Romeo. Burlsworth coming up, post position 6. And to the outside post, Where's Randy? To round out the field. Where's Randy to round out the field of a dozen? Draws in from the also eligible list. We're ready to go. And we're off. Strike Ridge was off slowly from the inside. Strato wastes no time off the layoff. He's fresh and fast as clears off 2.5 lengths early on Brahms Image, who runs in the second spot. Blame JD is third. Then a line of runners. Burlsworth, Reef's Destiny, Paramount Paycheck in that group, and Al's Romeo deeper in the yellow cap. Gap of 3 to Classy Sox with Strike Ridge and Holding Pattern, who's 3 wide. The gray Where's Randy has 1 runner beat that Cybertown at the back as the dozen Arkansas breds hit the 4-turn run straight Strato 5-1 paves the way in the first leg of the late pick 4. A length in front of Brahms Image, who's 2 lengths ahead of Blame JD, who's come under pressure, losing position. Burlsworth claims the 3rd position. He's after those front runners, 2.5 behind. Al's Romeo gets a giddy-up reminder. He needs to get going. Reef's Destiny is plummeting back. Paramount Paycheck plotting in place. Strike Ridge is getting about 5 wide coming off the turn, trying to pass runners. They're down the lane. Strato in front. Brahms Image right up alongside now. Al's Romeo, Burlsworth, they're moving as a team. Al's Romeo on the outside and Burlsworth in the middle. Now swarming Brahms Image in the final 16th. Burlsworth, Al's Romeo side by side coming to the finish. Burlsworth with a nose in front. Al's Romeo still right there. Photo finish. Very tight. Burlsworth, Al's Romeo on the line together. Cybertown from a mile behind got up for 3rd, ran on and galloped out well. And then came Brahms Image, who weakened to 4th late.
That could have been a dead heat. That was tough to separate.
Yeah, I'm sure the inside horse, Burlsworth, got it done. You have an edge in the inside anyway. The other Ron McQuett horse, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at it, it's not impossible. He ran his lifetime best last time. Certainly he could have taken another step forward, but I just preferred so many others in this one.
Well, I've had enough.
On that note,
see you guys
gonna
later.
Say goodbye in a moment. You're not done yet. Almost. One more look here down the stretch.
Well, that angle tells you nothing whatsoever. Finish was 6:12.
I will wait for the photo.
Okay, I'm going.
Andy, you're going to leave us parting thoughts on Flood Zone.
Terrific performance by him. And I'm interested to see where the numbers come back. The fact that he ran a little faster than that wildebeest that just won the last race, he's okay. We'll see how it does going forward. I think we saw a nice Gotham today.
We did. That was impressive. Andy will be leaving us. JK going to stick around with me, I hope.
Oh,
he can't go to Don Pepe's, so he's got to stay.
Thought I was going with Andy.
No, I need you. We'll be back. More coming up. We're going to take a look back at the Busher on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks. Drexel Hill for Whit Beckman with the impressive performance, picking up those Kentucky Oaks points. Stay with us. More ahead. Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes on June 7th at Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss your chance to witness the historical 3rd leg of the Triple Crown. Get your tickets today by visiting belmontstakes.com/tickets.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Hillendale at Alapa. By the way, it was Burlsworth back at Oaklawn with that win, 6-12-7 finish, and paying $26 for the victory in that very tight finish for the Runwell Quet Barn here in New York. No doubt about this winner. Quick to accuse, wins easily, wins quick, but not as quick as the time as we saw in the Gotham.
Yeah, but it trends well for the Gotham and for Flood Zone. Quick to accuse a horse that had a little bit more of an established form, a 5-year-old horse who had run some big numbers recently and in the past, to come out and run this well in this time that was slower than what we saw in the Gotham. You'd like to think that the Gotham speed figure is like a quarterback rating in football. The higher the better. It could be pretty special.
It could. We're all excited to see it, and definitely excited to see that horse go a little bit longer, too. And if he can keep doing it, going around 2 turns. Quick to accuse, very impressive in this performance. 4th career win, $4.70. Back-to-back victories for the Brad Cox Barn. Manny Franco, 3 wins today. He had 4 wins on Thursday this week. He's got 8 for the week. Good for him. He is rolling right now. Take a look at the cross-country pick 5 with 1 leg remaining out at Oaklawn. A $37 horse, Flood Zone in the Gotham. Now a $26 winner, barely, with Burlsworth winning that photo. You're alive for a significant score coming up.
Oh, you're doing all right. You're doing all right here. That's for sure.
Things do not close easily here in New York. 6 furlong New York bred maiden special weight to finish it. Vakinda, the horse to beat, but now has 4 seconds in 5 starts, and more concerning than that, it just did not run the same kind of race we've been used to seeing from him last start. He really went backwards.
Yeah, he's run some winning type races, but the problem is like I'm starting to get kind of tired of the act. This is probably the one he wins because I get off. I'm going to look towards the outside with the 9, Share the Loot. And I have to imagine the way they spelled loot has to be for my friend Tom Loot. Used to run Santa Anita, ran Vinery Farm. I would imagine.
Okay, we'll have more on that field coming up. We're going to go back to the Oaks Prep in the Busher, and Whit Beckman, Drexel Hill, getting her first win on dirt, just her second try on a fast dirt track, and she looked impressive here.
She did. She wound up from far back and looked like maybe the 5 was going to be the one to get the job done here and get the win, but the 3 in Drexel Hill just kept on coming. And right about here, it felt like it was likely to happen. Just wondering if she was going to be able to split these horses here, and she did that.
Ben Curtis aboard for the win. 1 race experiment with blinkers. They took them off today. And getting back to a fast track. That's the win here in this Busher. And gets 50 points to move on to the Kentucky Oaks. And another division where, look, the 2-year-old champion, who I don't think anyone thought Immersive was some lock that she was going to run away with things anyway. But she's sidelined now. Mohima just got beat. Still pretty wide open in the 3-year-old filly division as well.
No, it's certainly a year where there's nothing that's just really jumped out as a standout. So if you have horses winning these types of races, you have to feel pretty good about your chances. As long as you keep taking steps forward, that first Friday or that first Saturday in May, you'll be drawing live.
Well, and certainly you talked to him quite a bit before and after the race, Maggie. Whit Beckman got to be feeling pretty good the way things are going with his 3-year-old fillies right now.
You said it, Greg. Look, he has Her Laugh, Simply Joking, and now Drexel Hill. All of these fillies stakes winners with races on their way to the Kentucky Oaks. And Drexel Hill, I kind of felt for Whit early on in the running of the Busher because she just didn't find her stride as quickly as, one would have hoped with taking those blinkers off too. But boy, was she valiant in her victory today with with Ben Curtis, weaving in and out of horses and getting up and putting her ears up at the wire. So for me, that always indicates that a horse usually wins with a little bit left in the tank, and therefore I don't think a stretch back out to 2 turns is going to be out of her wheelhouse. So I'm excited for Whit. Such a great guy, someone I watched a lot when he was an assistant to Todd Pletcher and then Chad Brown. Great horseman and definitely deserves this success. And I just couldn't get over, Greg, how excited he was to win his first race at Aqueduct. He said, if I'm going to win here, I better be here.
Yeah, not just to win it, and win a big one too in an important race. Fun to see these new faces who've come up, as Maggie mentioned, under some of these big name trainers and start to establish themselves.
That's what's great about the Triple Crown, though, is it can be a career builder, right? If you win these big races, you can get the attention of other owners who might say, oh, I saw that guy, Whit Beckman, win the Gotham. Yeah, we'll send him a horse or two. Next thing you know, you get on that Triple Crown trail, and if you win one of those big races, whether you're a rider, a jockey, or a trainer, it really can be the turning point for a career. It's like winning the Super Bowl suddenly as an assistant coach. Now everybody wants you to be their head coach.
Busher win, Whit Beckman, Drexel Hill, Ben Curtis in for the victory. She wins it 5-1. And then, we'll talk about it more later, and obviously tomorrow a lot more, but a lot to unpack from what Flood Zone did in ultra impressive. Gotham really seemed to steal the show today.
Absolutely. The time was fast. And when you have a fast time, it likely means you got a fast horse. And if you got a fast horse, you got a shot to get that blanket of roses laid across your back on the first Saturday in May. And that's what it feels like with Flood Zone. As fast as he ran. We'll see what happens. A couple of other big races across the country on this Triple Crown trail today. Other horses probably could do some pretty special things. But so far, the leader in the clubhouse today for a special performance on a Triple Crown trail is definitely Flood Zone.
Yeah, Fountain of Youth, San Vicente still to come from out of Gulfstream, Santa Anita, respectively. We have our nightcap here in New York, more to come as well from Oaklawn. This horse has been pretty fast in most of his starts, but last time out, things did not go well. Took a step backwards. Ken Vakinda get that first career victory after 4 runner-up finishes in his first 5 starts.
Cyberknife was a very talented horse from day one. A very gifted, fast horse, a lot of speed, able to carry it around 2 turns. Looks a tremendous amount like Gun Runner, same ability and talent, beautiful physical, outworked every horse on the board. Holds the track record in the Haskell. He won it in impressive fashion, beating a very good group of horses.
And Cyberknife has won the TVG.com Haskell over Tama. Jack Christopher finished 3rd.
The Arkansas Derby was one of his best. Showed how much talent he really does have and stamped himself as one of the best 3-year-olds in the country.
His name is Cyberknife!
Cyberknife ranks up there as one of the most talented horses I've ever had in training. Multiple Grade 1 winner, brought it every time you let him over there. Excited about him passing on his durability, his soundness, and his talent. And if he does, he could definitely be a breed-shaping stallion.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Back on our Saturday coverage. Watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Nyra Bets, where you can play it all. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. I come out to Brooklyn again.
I'm trying to get on that bridge.
Get you some good pie.
Yeah, no, you're right.
This finale, there's Vakinda, who is the one to beat, but yeah, again, 4 runner-ups in 5 starts. And more concerning, just the big drop down and how fast he'd run last start is concerning.
Yeah, I just, like I said, he's got a couple of performances that are winning type races, right? I don't like a horse that keeps running second, but is running second with poor performances. Like, his performances were good. This one was probably, the last one was probably the most disappointing. But at this point, I can't, especially at this price at 9 to 5. I just have to try to look elsewhere at this point. Now, this is, like I said, this is likely the race where he stuffs me in a locker because I got off and he wins, but I'm going to try.
Look, this is not the impressive one to show you, but it was a runner-up finish last start, but he went backwards. Before that, 80 Buyer running second, beat a neck, and then second to Sand Devil, who was just second in the Gotham. So there was a lot to like kind of going forward. He'd face some tough horses. But we'll see what we get today. Here's Vakinda, 9 to 5.
Yeah, look, I mean, I just don't have any confidence in him. He's definitely the one to beat. But if he beats me today, I'm going to be a little frustrated I got off the train.
First-time starter. Here's Alan Turing debuting.
Andy yelled at me all morning about this guy, Alan Turing. Apparently, he invented the computer.
Saved us in World War II.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to see a terrific movie. Enigma, I believe it's called. Here's Roofer, Eric Cancel.
Yeah, I mean, he's not horrible at 3 to 1. I've seen worse. 11 to 1. I've seen worse 11 to 1 shots.
Here's Toga Dan debuting, Jorge Abreu.
Yeah, so horse is a couple works back, was tried on the turf. That's always an indicator to me that you're trying to figure this one out.
A lot of upside with this second-time starter for Mike Maker. America's back.
It broke slow last time, likely because it was his first start. We'll need to break a little bit better here today.
Blinkers coming off, but stepping up in class, 9 and 4.
Yeah, another one who broke poorly in 2 consecutive starts. I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's just who he is.
Disco Dervish at 60 to 1 now.
Yeah, it was 56 to 1 last time and did absolutely no running.
Share the loot. You can make an excuse. He faced a horse who was second in the Holy Bull last start.
Ran extremely well 2 back and even ran well 3 and 4 back. The problem is there's been a couple of instances where this horse is broken slowly. I'm a little concerned about that, but at 9 to 2, I will absolutely pay to find out.
New gelding here. This is Ragtime Prankster.
Yeah, broke slow last time. Doesn't have a lot of early speed, which is concerning.
First-time starter who had the second quickest of 35 working back on February the 12th.
Yeah, Jimmy Farrow, it's not something he does well or tries to do well. I'm not sure what his intent is. 3 for 170 with first-time starters throughout his career.
And the only dirt start for Dio Romano, it was a debut. You can excuse that. It was against Cyclone State to win the Jerome.
Yeah, ran well enough. This is the other one for Melanie Giddings, drawn towards the outside, puts blinkers on. The turf figure is competitive, but does need to run just a taste faster on the dirt.
Hit the gate in that only dirt start as well on the debut. Blinkers on, new gelding. A lot of changes for that one as we go back to the 9. Share the loot. 4 to 1. Actually, third choice on the board right now. Let's go back to this race at Gulfstream, December 1st.
Yeah, you look at this race on December 1st, and it was beaten by Bold Fortune. Fortune was slow away from there, but ran well. And this horse has basically always shown up and run well outside of that last performance where he broke extremely poor. So I would forgive for that. If this horse, Share the Loot, shows up and runs 3 of the 4 races that he's run throughout his career, he's likely to win. And at 4 to 1, that's pretty attractive.
Owned and trained by Melanie Giddings. 3-year-old debut coming up. Let's go to Maggie.
And I think Mel Giddings well represented here with her 2 charges. We'll begin with the horse you guys were talking about in number 9, Share the Loot, who does come back off a bit of a layoff, but looks really fit. He's been preparing down in South Florida where we saw his last 2 efforts appear, but he comes back with Lasix too. So all things good for Share the Loot getting back in with New York breds. Now, her other horse, Dia Romano, has never faced New York breds. And like Greg said, I think faced a decent field for his lone dirt try, and that was back as a 2-year-old running a 62. There's every reason to believe that getting back to the dirt now as a 3-year-old, he can run a bit faster. Now, I'm not totally in love with him turning back in distance. He is built a little bit more for more ground because he's tall and leggy, but he is sharp as those cheater blinkers do go on today, and he's a gelding. So look for him with that outside post too, to break more alertly. And speaking of breaking more alertly, I think that could be the case for number 7, 9, and 4, whom I don't necessarily like, but I thought it was interesting because JK brought up how he's broken poorly in his first 2 efforts. Well, I'm going to say that was because of the blinkers he was wearing. He was wearing those extension blinkers that Rudy Rodriguez loves, and it usually leads to horses not breaking well. So Ilkay Kantamasi picks him up, and he'll take them off immediately. He's built like a horse that should have more speed. So we'll see what he does today. He's a massive price at 22-1. Now, I always pick up my head when Jorge Abreu sends out first-time starters because he's so proficient with them. And number 9, Toga Dan, we'll take a look at him. And JK pointing out he's worked on the turf, and I get why, because the dam, she was pretty good on either surface, or decent, I should say. She wasn't great, but at least she showed she could handle both. So I feel like this, though, is a prep possibly for a horse who might be looking for the turf, or at least just looking for a start. And I don't often say that about Jorge's horses. They often come here looking really, really fit. I think this guy just needs a start, and we'll see maybe eventually easier company, not taking much money, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Here we go. Loading up. Is today finally the day for the 1 Vakinda? 4 consecutive runner-up finishes, including one to Sand Devil, who'd been undefeated until today's Gotham when he was the runner-up.
It certainly could be, but at the prices, I'm going to go with the 9.
There he is. Share the Loot, 3-year-old debut for Melanie Giddings with Christopher Elliott. Nightcap, Aqueduct. Chris Griffin, the call.
Toga Dan stepping forward. Here's America's Back. Rider off the 2, Alan Turing. Still a few left here as they back the 2 out of the gate. Alan Turing led back forward. Ragtime Prankster towards the outside. Hernandez Moreno is going to get back aboard the 2. 2 outside runners, Sanzio. And Dio Romano. Dio Romano, last to load to the outside here in the finale. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Vakinda broke well, so did Roofer from in between horses. America's Back is towards the outside, and now America's Back has put a nose in front. Now a half length as Roofer is going to be back to second. Tight spot here for Vakinda, is trying to move on through. Out of the saddle there briefly was Alan Turing. Rider board Alan Turing is going to be the trailer, but they're chasing America's Back. Roofer's in that mix. Here comes Toga Dan 3 wide. 4 wide, Ragtime Prankster. Vakinda's in a very tight spot here in 5th, but they're 4 across the racetrack with less than 4 furlongs to go. Up on the outside, here comes a run from Share the Loot. Also rallying on is Dio Romano. Behind them, that's 9 and 4, Sanzio. And far, far back, Alan Turing is just not keeping up with the field right now. Towards the back end, also with Disco Dervish. They're chasing America's Back, 23.43. Vakinda just muscling on through, and here comes Vakinda is chasing Roofer doing the same thing. It's the top trio right now. America's Back is trying to win it right now, and America's Back is sprinting away. It's America's Back. Vakinda is traveling there with Roofer, trying to straighten up, and now they've got the leader in sights. America's Back for a final furlong, but Vakinda catching with every single stride. Here's Vakinda to the outside. Vakinda's pushing on by. Vakinda, Manny Franco is on fire right now. It's Vakinda who wins it over America's Back. Then came Share the Loot, followed by Roofer in 1 minute 14 seconds flat.
9 wins this week and counting. 4 on Thursday, 4 today. Vakinda finally breaks through and gets that maiden win.
I mean, that's how it usually goes. You have a horse who runs winning type races, like not those disappointing, hangy type of seconds that can happen when you have a horse who keeps getting second. But just, running into a circumstance or a better horse on the day. And finally, as soon as I jumped off the wagon, Vakinda gallops home and gets the win here for George Weaver and, like Chris Griffin said, the red hot Manny Franco.
Yeah, 1-6-9-3 finish, nightcap in New York. Feature on the Saturday card here at Oaklawn. Arkansas bred runners in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders, $150,000 purse. Fillies, mares 3 and up, and a heavy 1-2 favorite in this one right here, Hall and Ice.
Yeah, look, he's got some speed, and he's run well. He's got some numbers that definitely put him in the mix for like grade 3 type stakes.
Coming out of the grade 2 inside information with Francisco Arrieta's massive class edge in terms of who she's been facing. Here's Punchy Girl coming off a victory.
Yeah, it was wide all the way around there last time, but did run a lifetime best figure.
Q's Your Mama has won back-to-back starts, but a big step up in class.
Yeah, huge step up in class.
Martin Schwann will ride. Appealing Addy, 14-1 next door. Tried to go gate to wire, cuts back in distance.
Yeah, another one who just is going to have to get a lot faster to be competitive with this group.
Randy Morse trains. She's Storming, another one who's been facing a lot easier.
Yeah, a lot easier and doesn't have a lot of speed to help in a group like this.
Where's Tom Durkin when we need him? Pirate Treasure.
Yeah, this horse has been 24-1, 14-1, 21-1. Hasn't done much running in those last 3 starts.
And Benny K and Susie, too, we've gotten used to seeing her with some big moments here at Oaklawn over the years.
She's drawn well with her tactical speed to be able to try to combat what we'll see from the one Hall and Ice. But, man, she's going to have to get faster if she wants to beat this 1-2 favorite.
Massive class edge for a filly who's been in several graded stakes races facing Arkansas bred company. Here, let's go to Mig.
Yeah, guys, it's really hard to see past the one Hall and Ice, who is getting back with Arkansas breds after running well against much tougher. Last time a subpar effort for her in the inside information, a grade 2 at Gulfstream Park. But now she gets back with Arkansas bred. She looks fantastic. She ships in here from South Florida, so she has her Florida tan going on. She checks all the boxes. It just feels like something would have to go wrong or drastically wrong for her to lose in this spot. She's, really attractive daughter of Cole Front. I can't see past her. I'm not giving you any great information. She's a very short price. The 2 Punchy Girl made a really nice impression. You get Tyler Bacon. Everybody knows I'm a Tyler Bacon fan. I just like the way this kid sits a horse, and I like the way horses run up into his hands. This 6-year-old is going to have to get faster, have to get better. But I hope he kind of gets her settled and come finishing. Sometimes in a race like this, when you've got an overwhelming favorite like Hall and Ice, don't ride to win. Ride to get a check. And then hope that they get involved in a speed duel or something goes wrong and you wind up picking up the big check. It's when you go after horses like this, you cost yourself. The 3, Q's Your Mama. I thought this horse was a little bit interesting, lightly raced, only because the same breeder as Hall and Ice. And it's obvious that they're doing a really good job breeding Arkansas breds. I don't think the horse has any chance whatsoever, but I just thought it was worth noting that. And then the 9, Benny K and Susie 2. Good outside draw. I think she gets comfortable from the outside. And to be honest with you guys, I just wanted to say Benny K and Susie 2.
7-2, that, cozy outside spot. She's been pretty good in some big moments against State Bred Company over the last couple of years. Let's go back to February 1st. Punchy Girl, Benny K and Susie 2. And Punchy Girl will get the better of her on this race.
Yeah, she does, but she got the best of it in this race. I mean, the pace was honest enough, but she was clear. And I think when you have a horse who can get clear, they can also get a little bit brave in a situation like this. Punchy Girl ran her down, but I would say that Benny K and Susie 2 had the better trip.
She was on the lead, Benny K and Susie 2 that time, kind of refining that speed that she used to have and kind of had not been showing for a while. So we'll see if she has that again today.
Yeah, it's definitely a weapon. And from her outside draw here, she's in a great position tactically to be able to take advantage of this draw, especially with the speed that she has. She doesn't necessarily have to go to the front, but she does want to probably pop away from there, see what happens to her inside. If De La Cruz feels as if the pace isn't very fast, he can sit right out there and go to the front. Or if it is fast, he can sit comfortably off of it. It's a great spot to be with a horse that has her style.
And look, what do you make of Hall and Ice? Obviously, she's faced just world's better company, but she has, disappointed in those performances. Can that break your spirit a little bit?
Yeah, she didn't run great last time, but she ran really nice here at Oaklawn 2 starts back. If she runs to that performance, she wins. If she runs her last performance, she loses, but that's pretty obvious.
Hall and Ice, heavy odds-on favorite from the inside post for Staffy Joseph Jr. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the Down the Dusty Road Breeders.
The Down the Dusty Road Breeders Stakes. And Larough could be getting. Benny K and Susie 2 bounced into the bridle right away. Hall and Ice claiming the second position in the early stages. Appealing Addie, she's storming. And Q's Your Mama lineup a joint third. Punchy Girl easing off that trio. She's 3 lengths off the pace and a gap of 7 to our Pirate Treasure, who's been out sprinted early. Down the backstretch, Benny K and Susie 2 could not keep pace with Hall and Ice, the 2-5 favorite. Francisco Arrieta lets her roll and says, come and catch me if you can. Hall and Ice with the ears pricked goes into the turn with a 2.5 length lead. Benny K and Susie 2, not usually seeing speed like this for her. She's usually on the lead, and today she's second in an all-out drive with Punchy Girl. Appealing Addie backing away in fourth. She's storming is done, so is Q's Your Mama. Our Pirate Treasure doesn't look like she's going to get it done as they come to the top of the lane. Hall and Ice, it's her race to lose. She's increased the leading margin to 5 lengths coming down the stretch. Punchy Girl is second. Benny K and Susie 2 is tired. Appealing Addie into the third position, but with a furlong to go, it is all Hall and Ice. Hall and Ice by 5 coming to the finish. And Hall and Ice at 2-5, she will win the Down the Dusty Road Breeders' Stakes as advertised. Hall and Ice easily. Second home, Punchy Girl. Then Appealing Addie. And fourth went to our Pirate Treasure.
Massive class edge, and it shows here for Hall and Ice, who's now 5 for 7 at Oaklawn. How about Staffy Joseph here from Limited Starters to Meet? 5 wins from 9 starters.
He's shipping the right ones up, that's for sure. In those silks that you saw Pegasus World Cup winner White Abario in for C2 Racing. Yeah, I mean, she popped away from there from the inside, was aggressively ridden, held her position, and galloped away at the end. You could do worse than that in the stock market.
Yeah, you can. You can actually lose money.
You couldn't have lost money on her today.
Hall and Ice, 2-5 favorite. Easy as can be. Now 6 for 12 lifetime, but yeah, 5 for 7 at Oaklawn, as dominant as you can imagine in that performance in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders. Francisco Arrieta, CZ Racing Stable, and Staffy Joseph Jr.
Say hello to Move. It's a one-horse race, very professional and very fast. Move, rolling home by 4 in fine style.
Muth, the son of good magic, coming down the stretch at Hot Springs to win it.
Back on our Saturday coverage here on Fox Sports 2, Vakinda finally gets his day here after 4 runner-ups and 5 starts. Breaks his maiden career start number 6 for George Weaver and Manny Franco. A 4-win Thursday and a 4-win Saturday now.
When I'm wrong in a race, I try to take a handicapping lesson from it that I can apply down the line. I think the lesson here is that, like, if you have a horse who is consistently running second but running winning performances, you should give them a little bit of a break. And I think that's what happened with Vakinda. I mean, last time was a little bit disappointing, but before that, this horse was running winning races. It just got beat. Now finally found a group that was more to his liking, kind of put everything together, and gets the win.
$4.40 wins at 6-5. 169 to close things out here in New York. Owned, trained, and bred by George Weaver.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the half to this horse wasn't very good, but was named Boston Strong Mama. Obviously, George Weaver's wife Cindy was in that accident a few summers back and was spending a lot of time in Boston in her recovery, assuming the name Boston Strong Mama was the half to this one was related to that.
Back to Oaklawn, and no question about this winner here. Hall and Ice, 2-5, massive favorite. Runs like 2-5 was a bargain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just broke away from there from the inside, held that position, advanced that position, and ran away like a 2-5 shot should. When you're 2-5, you're supposed to come into the stretch like this, getting shoulder taps just like this, with everyone else behind you trying very hard to catch you, to no avail.
6 for 12 overall, and just too good for these Arkansas-bred runners, taking advantage of, there's some hefty purses for these state-bred runners in Hot Springs.
Absolutely.
She gets the money.
It's really gone a long way for getting Oaklawn's product to it's always been good, but to improve even more the amount of money that horses can run for there.
Pick 5. That ended there, $1,228. And there's a cross country that ends with a single for many. Comes back just shy of $2,000 with a couple of huge prices. And really, for a lot, was probably a pick 4.
Yeah, you know, you see a Brad Cox runner in flood zone, probably doesn't play like $37 in that wager, and catch a couple of...
Quick to Accuse was way the horse to beat.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you like Brad Cox, you probably did well there.
Yes, you did. So well done if you put that together. Still have the 10th to come from Oaklawn. Probably will not get that in.
Trying to see Minnesota.
We have plenty to talk about still.
Okay.
We'll preview 2 big Derby preps to come from out on the West Coast and at Gulfstream, Fountain of Youth. San Felipe, including Barnes, going 2 turns for the first time for Bob Baffert. Stay with us.
The Factor, a perennial leading sire of winners. He was 3rd in the nation by winners in 2021 and 2022. His progeny include Grade 1 winners Sistron and Noted and Quoted, Grade 2 winner Charmaine's Mia, and Millionaires Bound for Nowhere. And factor this, with dozens of 6-figure yearling sales, he's a proven sire on the track and in the sales ring. The Factor, standing at Lane's End.
Be a part of history and reserve your place at the all-new Belmont Park. Secure your priority deposit today for an exclusive selection of hospitality offerings, from luxury suites to premium lounges with breathtaking racetrack and paddock views. The new Belmont Park will feature modern amenities, delivering the perfect blend of tradition and innovation alongside world-class racing. Don't miss your chance to experience tradition reimagined. Visit newbelmont.com today and claim your spot.
The champion 2-year-old. One of 4 champion 2-year-olds in his immediate family. Essential quality at 2. Undefeated.
Essential quality, though, has opened up by 5.
Devastating. His own first 2-year-olds race in 2025. If they're anything like him and you've got a mare in foal, just imagine.
Fasig-Tipton Digital presents Soul of an Angel. Graced with pure speed, she secured champion female sprinter honors, winning the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, earning the second highest winning Ragozin in the last 10 years of the race.
Soul of an Angel!
She also won the Grade 2 Ruffian and the Grade 3 Princess Rooney. Possessing divine looks, this racing broodmare prospect has earned over $1.2 million and counting. The Soul of an Angel flash sale, February 26th through March 4th on Fasig-Tipton Digital.
Back on our Saturday coverage, Gotham in the books in New York. 2 other major Derby preps to come. Next up, Grade 2 Fountain of Youth out at Gulfstream at 1 mile and 1/16. And some big names in here. Sovereignty returning for Bill Mott for his 3-year-old debut. Burnham Square, Holy Bull winner. He's put together back-to-back victories. He's the favorite right now. Can he put together his 3rd straight?
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of this horse, the son of Liam's Map. Ian Wilkes is not the type of trainer who is just jamming 3-year-olds, trying as hard as he can to get into the Derby, Triple Crown Trail. That's not who he is. When he gets one like this, they bring him there. It's the horse and the talent of the horse that puts him in spots like this. Burnham Square has been versatile. He won in wire-to-wire fashion. He won impressively last time by closing and finishing. And when you look at this group, he just makes the most sense to me. Sovereignty certainly can jump up and win, but he's going to be a little bit overbet. Right now, he's 7-2 on the board. I don't trust Sovereignty. A little hypey for me.
Dominant winner of the Street Sense. It was his first try against winners. And it was to break his maiden, by the way, as well. He just opened up on this group, including a pretty nice one in Tistastic. And then Sandman, who was 3rd behind him, who's pretty highly regarded.
The one thing I will say about Sovereignty, is that he has some figures as a 2-year-old, 87 and 89 Beyer speed figures, that are right in the same area as Burnham Square, who ran a 90 last time. But Burnham Square ran that 90 as a 3-year-old. Sovereignty earned those numbers, 89 and 87, as a 2-year-old. You'd like to think that there's some improvement over time in the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, growing up, getting more mature as a 3-year-old. If he has a bigger move in him, it'll be fun to watch. And, yeah, right now, Burnham Square is your favorite. Also, of course, in there, River Thames, undefeated for Todd Pletcher, going beyond 1 mile for the first time. What do you think of him?
You know, it's one of those deals where if this was, Jimmy McWilliams that was training him, I'd be like, stretching this horse out, trying very hard. When you have a trainer like Todd Pletcher, who's run countless of numbers of horses in the Derby, who does well on the Derby trail, who has won, 3 Kentucky Derbies, you'd like to think that he's making this decision because he believes this horse will stretch out. He definitely has a lot of talent.
The biggest hype horse on the road to the Kentucky Derby this year, probably purchase price alone, and it's Bob Baffert. Barnes, $3.2 million he went for at auction, son of Into Mischief. He's undefeated. He will go longer in that 2-turn test for the first time. What do we get from him?
Well, here's kind of what I've said all week, various times talking about Barnes, is that he certainly has the most upside, right? When you have that type of a price tag, $3 million and change, and you're being trained by Bob Baffert, who's won not only a handful of Kentucky Derbies, he's also won 2 Triple Crowns. So everything points to this horse is going to be pretty tough to beat. This will be his first time going 2 turns. Shouldn't be a problem, the way that he's bred, the way that he moves, who he's trained by. But at even money today, I don't think you're really proving anything. If he does turn out to be sensational today and he runs off the screen, okay, you could have got your even money. But to me, I'm just going to let today's performance guide me into really loving him for the Kentucky Derby, where he'll probably be like 5-2 if he does something brilliant here today. I just don't find value in betting him today at this number when you're hoping it's going to happen. If it happens, then you can make decisions. For me, I think journalism is more of a play today. For Michael McCarthy, I think Michael McCarthy does an outstanding job. This horse is 7-2, and like I said, Barnes has some questions he's got to answer.
He's got a real rival potentially too. You mentioned journalism, but in his stablemate Rodriguez, who has run in just the second start of his career, a faster number than Barnes has ever run.
Absolutely, but the hype is not nearly the same as it is for a horse like Barnes. And Rodriguez, I thought that he broke his maiden against a group that wasn't the best in the world. Then he comes back in the Robert B. Lewis and disappoints to his stablemate Citizen Bull. I mean, it's no disappointment. He is the 2-year-old champion and a horse who, if I'm not mistaken, is first or second on the Derby points leaderboard. But to me, Rodriguez is not the Baffert in this race that I want.
We'll see. They did not put him on the lead last start. See what they do today. At Citizen Bull, they gave the lead. Another stablemate of his, Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner. Be interesting to see who does go to the front of this race.
Yeah, I mean, look, Baffert's never going to take away. He'll probably tell both of your riders to pop away from there. Whoever makes the lead gets the lead. Let's not get into a ding-dong duel on the front end. They're both talented, and they both have nice tactical speed. We'll see.
Meanwhile, Captain Cook, 13th on that list. We're going to see him for Rick Dutrow Jr. next in the Wood Memorial, and potentially lining up against Flood Zone. We just saw win the Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about this list is, like, you don't see Barnes' name on it. Although he is in the kind of the early Derby betting, the future pool that you can bet that they have. He's the shortest price of an individual horse, and he's not even on this top 24. That's how highly regarded he is.
Meanwhile, the coolest story, I think, still is the horse at the top of that list for Lonnie Briley, who never had, on his own, had a Derby contender, probably thought he never would, and now Cole Battle is undefeated on the dirt.
Well, that's what makes the Derby so great, is like you mentioned, you got Cole Battle and Lonnie Brile versus Bob Baffert in a $3-point-something million horse. It's that contrast, and the best part about it is both of them can win. And the trainers and owners will probably have the same story as to why they didn't when it was all said and done.
A lot still can happen, but we're going to learn out a little bit more with the Fountain of Youth San Felipe coming up next. These two big Derby preps out in Florida and the West Coast. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We'll look back to our ABR race of the week and what happened in the Gotham. Is he for real on the Derby Trail? Certainly looked like it in that Gotham win. Flood Zone moving to the Brad Cox barn. Stay with us. We'll be back.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Back on our Saturday coverage, final segment here on Fox Sports 2 earlier today. Road to the Kentucky Derby, ABR race of the week. It was the Gotham, and somehow this horse went off at 17-1, moving to the Brad Cox Martin flood zone.
Yeah, it's funny. If you would have told me a couple months ago that Brad Cox is going to win a Derby prep with a 17-1 shot, I'd probably call you crazy. Well, it's exactly what he did here. Not only did he win, he did it impressively. On a day where you have the Fountain of Youth at Gulfstream and you've got the San Felipe at Santa Anita, I don't think many thought that super impressive performance was going to come here in the Gotham. And so far, it has. And Flood Zone likely to get a fast speed figure for this race and puts himself towards the front of the pack when it comes to this year's Kentucky Derby.
Quicker than they went, older horses. The Stymie quicker than they went in an impressive win. The next race for older horses from Quick to Accuse, who ran very good, dominating that field. This was a big performance from Flood Zone. It was the first time going beyond 6.5 furlongs, just his third career start. And we'll see. Son of Frosted out of a Curlin mare. If 2 turns, maybe gets even better.
Yeah, I mean, Frosted appreciated that 1 turn, but there's no reason why he wouldn't be able to produce a horse that'll go longer.
We are back with you tomorrow. Look back on all the big Kentucky Derby preps, 3 p.m. Eastern start time on Fox Sports. Full Moon Madness, best in the Tom Full, finally able to break well under Kendrick Carmouche and turns in an impressive performance in the Stymie Bank Frenzy. 3 wins in a row. It was very impressive off the bench. Road to the Kentucky Oaks with Beckman as a nice one, and Drexel Hill splits horses, goes on to victory, and Flood Zone again. Brilliant in the Gotham on the stretch out, moving to the Brad Cox barn.
Adelphi Racing Club offers the unparalleled excitement of owning thoroughbred racehorses at a fraction of the cost. We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Our New York-based high-performing equine athletes, trainers, and jockeys compete and win at the highest level circuits. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference, and let's win races together.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.